What's going on? How's everybody doing? NPC the Game live broadcast. I'm Gabriel, and it's good to have everybody here. What's going on, Benjamin? My son, how's it going? Department of TOS guidelines. Okay, what's up? That's a new one. Yeah, I like it. Okay. Lizard Tree. What's up, homie? Zephyr. The strings, yeah, the classical music is very, pulls strings, pulls at your strings. Markella, good to see you, my friend. She says, yeah, Markella, this is great. She says, hope everything is well today. Praying for your wife still. I appreciate that, man. She has that COVID, but I think it's almost out of her system right now. So, thanks for saying that. Yes. What's up, Snow? Good to see you. Good to see you. Keep chipping away at those astrology charts. You know. Hey, my brother Patrick Bateman, Mukmo's paying good, making that do re mi, huh? Yeah. It's Chicken Snake. What's going on? Driving, riding, and learning. Yeah, I heard that. So yeah, it's good to have everybody. Today's broadcast themes are water sign showdown. Scorpio versus Cancer versus Pisces. And who's the real emotional MVP? Not no emotional damage today. We ain't doing that. So yeah. I say yeah, good to have everybody. I'm gonna call you soul navigators and cosmic thinkers here and now. We're back at it on this daily forecast broadcast where we decode the zodiac and break it down to archetypes and literally dive deep. And tonight's the water sign showdown. You know, the water signs, the elements, multitasking. I see. Yeah. Let me get this. Yes, sir. No time for discussion, but aren't you one, bro? I'm just finding the value of things. Hey, man. Appreciate that. Let's we can all learn. We don't eat curry like that. I like my Japanese curry and my Indian curry. Is it Vietnamese posers out here? I call them my Vietnam brothers and sisters. Matter of fact, Vietnam was Anthony, the late great Anthony Bourdain's favorite place to go, allegedly. Yeah. I don't know if he was a water sign. Hey, when we say like this person's this sign, that sign, we usually talking about the sun sign, but it can mean any sign. The thing about this astrology thing is it's your personality on default, where we're looking at patterns and putting meaning to them. That's why you can get a value out of it. That's how you can get value out of it. Put away your disbelief and all that and skepticism for a second and just see how some of the things I'm saying, the themes I'm saying are relating to your situations that you're engaging in right now. That's the way you can get value out of this. Chanel. There's a lot to get value out of here from all this. You can get value from anything. Water. I'm water and fire. Apparently in numerology. You're snow fire. Except you're here in the water element. Isn't Sagittarius? Yes, it's a fire sign. It's a fire sign for the philosophers, and I think that they represent the stage in life, the adolescence, where they're just coming into their own. They know a lot, but there's so much more to learn, and they can be kind of like trickster, shit disturbers, sophomoric humor, and all that. But they're very quick, and they're just getting a handle on what it means to be alive, just like an adolescence. You know what's up? Yeah, thanks, Leopard Print. Good to see you. Anthony Bourdain was in Cancer. That makes sense because he had a lot of feeling in his monologues. Uh, I think he was influenced by the great Hunter S. Thompson, the writer of Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, the way he would write his vlog narrator voice, and he had a lot of feeling infused in there, like a Cancer, very nostalgic, like Cancer, and very intuitive. Before the way he presented his content. Yeah, it does make sense. I learned more when I accept I know nothing. That's a smart man. Yeah, RP the greats. The goods die young, and the bad outlive everyone sometimes. But you're here. Thanks. And let's get right into it. I think that this water sign showdown, it's we call Clash of the Water Signs, like Clash of the Titans. It's long overdue because yeah, Scorpio, Cancer, Pisces, the water signs, they're all emotional, they're all intuitive, and they all feel the vibes before they walk in the room. But don't get it twisted. Each one of these signs handles emotion very differently. So if you ever wondered why your Cancer friend, or if you're a Cancer, why you cry at those commercials, Hallmark commercials, or your Pisces friend, uh, I got a Pisces cousin, believes in twin flames, and why your Scorpio X is still haunting in your dreams. I think this episode's for you. So let's break it down. And first of all, we got to see what makes a water sign. And just to give you a little context, water signs are the empaths of the zodiac, right? I guess Zephyr has that. Yeah, Zephyr, you have the water in your chart. If if you cry a lot, I could see that. The rule I think I see with these fires, I mean these water signs, is most of them are emotional, and they're intuitive, and they value the imagination, and they're healers too, right? It's funny. I had my level 3 students, which are like, I think they're like 4th or 5th graders, or even a little older than 6th graders, level 4. And we had to take this test, this novel test, and they had to think of a new word. Basically, take something old and then rename it into a new word, and tell why they named it. What makes it better to having this name? And man, there was half of them barely could do that. Well, they couldn't tap into their imagination. And maybe it's not just because of the culture here. They're more earthbound in the material. But imagination, maybe it was their personality makeup, their chart. Imagination is something definitely that the water signs are plugged into. Yeah. What's up, Dennis? Excuse me, Denise. Good to see you. Thanks for the membership. You're fire and air with Pisces rising. That's pretty epic. Yeah, you love making new words. There was a book we were reading called Friendle. I don't know if you remember that book when you were like a preteen. Friendle. about this boy named Nick who makes up a new word for the name pen, ends up causing a ripple effect throughout the his community and the whole country. Yeah, language is an interesting thing. Yeah, but there's like a twist to the water signs, when they are emotional and intuitive. Imagination is a priority with them, and they're healers. But the twist I see is that each one does it in a totally different style. The Cancers are the cardinal water, right? They're the the initiators. The cardinal means the initiating. Each element has three different modes of it, and the first is cardinal, like the starters, right? And then the Cancers are usually the initiators, while the Scorpios are the second mode, the water element, which is fixed water, right? Fixed water means it's almost stagnated. you just stay the same. You don't really move. You're obsessed with whatever's going on, and the Pisces are the mutable water. Mutable means it's able to be adaptable to the next element that's going into it. It handles change pretty good. They flow pretty good, right? And I have to say that when we think about water, I'm thinking about the emotions and feeling, and yeah, hit up the donations. They're always welcome, huh? You feel moved to do donations? You want me to look at you have a question about your chart? Those definitely will go top priorities. We have the YouTube to make it simple donation. And then we also have the buy me a coffee, which I like a lot because this is a very low percentage that the buy me coffee takes. So thank you, Leopard Print, for that. So as we said, Cancer is the initiator, initiates emotion. Scorpio holds it down, and the Pisces flows and adapts with it, right? And now, when I think of the personalities of these signs, because this is what astrology is. It's just looking at your personality laid out on the table. I think the Cancers are like a soft shell crab, but their will is of steel. Almost like that plankton on SpongeBob, where he's like this small, squishy sea creature, yet he embodies this shell of a robot that like strengthens his will and makes him like 20 feet tall, right? And the Cancers, I was always taught, and I've seen them because my mom was a Cancer. They're like the moon child or the nurturer, and the Cancers feel everything, and I mean everything, right? And they cry, and they can cause other people to cry, but more often, like if they see you cry, they'll start crying with you, and they remember your birthday. They remember all the birthdays. They remember things about like the last time you hung out, like what you were wearing, what music was you were listening to, the people you saw. They're very nostalgic, and they're deeply loyal, but low key sensitive as fuck. And the Cancer energy is kind of like this. It's like their mantra would be, "Let me take care of you, but please don't forget about me. Please don't forget about me." Well, show just making sure you're subbed up. This is my only sub. Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, the sub is cool. We're gonna tweak that out a bit and have some more perks. You know, we have the members only chat and members only live coming up. What's up, Flow State? Flowing like we were saying, how the Pisces is that mutable sign that can flow, right? Powder Dusty. Even though Powder Dusty may be a Sagittarius sun sign, probably has elements of water somewhere in their chart. Everyone has elements of water in their chart. You know, whether it's Vedic astrology or Babylonian astrology or what, it's they're all there. And in that Cancer is very emotional. They're literally the emotional historians of the zodiac. They carry the past like it's a photo album in their soul. It's like that Mel, the Furby. I heard her on the TPD yesterday, a Powder Dusty, and she admitted that she was a Cancer, and it got me to thinking that makes a lot of sense because the Cancers want to be acknowledged, man, for nurturing, and everyone has their different ways of nurturing, and I'm assuming things, but maybe Mel's way of nurturing is trying to share what she accumulated in terms of knowledge with other people. You know, I guess sometimes people can be seen as a know-it-all when they do it too much, but regardless of that, in their mind, they may be really trying to nurture and help people that, you know, navigate this world about the things they share. However, if the people aren't feeling Cancer, what you're saying, what you're trying to nurture them with, that can be very frustrating, especially when your mantra is, let me take care of you, but please don't forget about me. You know, you feel like marginalized when everyone does, like when people don't respect you and stuff, especially when you're trying to help. And that's the thing about a Cancer. In a negative, unbalanced aspect of their modality, they can become the Cancerverse, which is this black hole that if they're feeling bad, they want everyone to acknowledge the fact that they're feeling bad and being left out. So they'll do things in order to like push your buttons and annoy you, so you feel the pain that they're feeling. You know, it's a very interesting dynamic out there. Shout out to the Powder Dusty. He's a member. I think we swapped. I'm a membership. I have a membership at his spot, or I do have to re-up it again. I saw that yesterday. But yeah, the Cancers, they want you to feel. That's why we love the Cancers too, because when they're feeling like blessed and great, they have a knack for making everyone else feel that too. The water is a powerful element, a very powerful element, huh? So let's check out water, what actually water does, and it's life giving, but it's also life taken away. So let's check out what these
details later in the video.
Water.
The Lake Oliver Dam accident. On October 27, 2020, a 31-year-old man named Alex Reed Paxton, who worked as a commercial diver, was assigned a seemingly normal job at the Lake Oliver Dam in Columbus, Georgia. His task was to inspect the chain on one of the control gates of the dam's electric system to check for any damage. Lake Oliver Dam is a massive structure on the Chattahoochee River. Inside, water flows through giant pipes called penstocks, which carry it to turbines that generate electricity. These pipes are among the riskiest areas for divers due to the differential pressure, or delta P. This occurs when water rushes through a small opening, creating a powerful suction force. The pressure difference can trap a diver against a wall or pull them into the opening, making it impossible to escape. Because of this, strict safety measures are used to identify and shut off all energy sources before a diver enters the water. One of these rules is called a lockout-tagout system, which involves identifying every potential source of energy, like valves, turbines, or electricity, shutting them off one by one. Each closure is documented on a checklist and verified by a team. But on this particular day, something went terribly wrong. Alex dove into the water and began his inspection. However, unknown to him, a valve controlling a 10-inch pipe used to activate the dam's turbines was left open. As Alex moved down the chain, his arm was suddenly sucked into the pipe by an incredibly powerful force, about 850 pounds of suction.
Wow. Could have ripped that thing off.
The pressure pinned his chest against the wall, making it impossible for him to breathe. Even with his diving gear, Alex was trapped and unable to move. The heavy force of the water cut off his airflow, and he quickly lost consciousness. Realizing something was wrong, the team working with Alex tried to locate the source of the problem, but it took them 30 minutes to identify the open valve causing the suction, and after closing it, another 30 minutes to completely stop the water flow. By the time they retrieved Alex's body, it was far too late, as he had already died from a lack of oxygen. Investigators later discovered that the safety checklist used that day was incomplete. It didn't even mention the valve that had caused the accident, meaning it hadn't been properly shut off before Alex.
Oh, good knowledge. See, this is a good segue. This happened during Denise said this happened during Scorpio season. Death and morbidness, death, rebirth, life. We were building on that the last couple of days. Yes, Scorpio season.
Started his dive. Each of these tragedies happened because of one crucial mistake: an open valve, a wrong turn, a moment of miscalculation. Underwater, even the smallest errors can be deadly. The same.
Let's let that sink in. Underwater, even the smallest errors can be deadly.
A moment of miscalculation. Underwater,
some of the most, the smallest things can be deadly. Underwater, water, emotion, your subconscious, right? Subconscious emotion. Emotions can be deadly, man. They cause a lot of the domestic violence issues we have, right? They cause some of the blow-ups on the panel. When people's emotions are in check. When you hear people say, "Are you in your feelies?" That's so cringe. Feelers or feelies, whatever they say. Yeah, if someone's in their emotions too much without mastering them, and they get all over the place and they spill all over the place, and it can become an unbalanced cancer energy, for example.
even the smallest errors can be deadly. The same is true when learning a skill. If you don't have the right foundation.
All right, there's this shameless plug. Yeah. But I have to say this: cancers are great, though. I mean, they're one of the most skilled signs in the zodiac, man. Similar to Gemini, they can do it all, except they have the emotional component where they can really be in that feeling modality more and understand where someone's coming from. Right? I love that about them. And when people think that cancers are soft, I'll tell you this, man, that crab shell is tough, man. And once you betray a cancer, good luck getting back in. Right, as we see, right? For those cancers out there, the sun signs especially, it's hard to get back in good favor once you mess with the cancer,
To how and way that actually makes sense. Check out the app and download now for free. Plurigrata.
Yep. It is very hard to get back in those good graces. So that's the Cancer mode, right? Personality. The second should we see? I think the second modality I see is that Scorpio modality, personality. This is a good tie-in that death and the dam happened during Scorpio season. Teach you about life and death. And I call the Scorpio the emotional alchemist. Alchemist, someone that can turn lead into gold. Raise your consciousness by using the things that aren't serving you, transforming it into something that can give you power. So you can do your alchemy, your magic. So we talked about Scorpio last time, and Scorpio doesn't show feelings like Cancer or Pisces. They still have them though, but they hold them deep and they're private, and they guard them like a vault in the Vatican, with all the treasure. And the Scorpio mantra, we could say it's going to be, you don't get to see my pain unless I trust you with my soul. That is very deep, right? It's intense. It's Scorpio. This is a fixed water sign, and like a underground river, it's still and it's quiet and it's powerful. Scorpio feels the deepest out of almost any sign, we could say, but instead of crying about it, they'll analyze it, transform it, and weaponize it if it's needed. As a Scorpio, I don't want comfort, I want truth. And that's why I'm and other Scorpios are drawn to psychology and shadow work and taboo topics like death, right? And real deal intimacy. Because that's probably one of my flaws in trying to level up here in the panel verse and beyond is a lot of times under the Machiavelli lit, you don't want to have intimacy per se with people. You don't want to give them too much because they can use that against you. But God darn it, like my Scorpio senses, spidey senses, like I'm always drawn to intimacy with people, and that's not just sexual. That's trying to find the at a soul level how deep is your love type of stuff, right? And dude, it's all about the real deal with Scorpio, and you can't get any realer than some of these death topics. So let's get back to this water. We're using the water as a metaphor for the deep emotions of your psyche. Okay, back to this. Think about water right now and how it relates to your emotional state.
Down in a way that actually makes sense. Check out the app and download now for free. Plurigrata Cave Tragedy. On February 6th, 2014.
Now we're going into the cave. Now this deals with water, but now we're going in the deep subconscious, the deepest levels of the soul.
In Rana, North.
February 6th, Denise, that's Aquarius month. This is why like all these deaths are about water, have to do with water, the emotional state. However, it's funny how it's ironic how this water death happened in a cave, right? Which normally you wouldn't think about water being in a cave, right? But it's there.
Norway, 5 Finnish divers prepared for a deep dive into one of Northern Europe's most dangerous underwater cave systems.
What's up,
the
Ozzy?
Plurigrata. This network of water-filled tunnels connects the Plura sinkhole to the Steinnugelflaget dry cave, stretching several kilometers and reaching.
Yeah, people love to do these excavations into the cave systems and stuff. It's wild. Unknown.
Depths of up to 426 feet. Just months earlier, Kai and Patrick had been part of a group that discovered the connection between the two entrances, becoming the first to cross the entire cave
Denise,
system.
you see it,
Their
Aquarius,
success boosted their
this is probably why you're here. The Aquarian, I love the Aquarian mind. It's a genius level, and it's very connected to source code. You see things out the box and become trendsetters.
confidence for this new attempt, which involved reversing their original route by starting at Steinnugelflaget and finishing at Plura. After a 15-hour journey from Finland, the team arrived at their destination well prepared. To minimize the risk of disturbing sand and dirt that could cloud their vision, they divided into 2 groups. The first team would begin their dive 2 hours ahead of the second, with both aiming to complete the traverse in approximately 5 hours. The first group, consisting of Patrick and Huotarinen, entered the water and began their mission. When they reached the deepest part of the cave, they decided to power down their underwater scooters so that Huotarinen could take in the beauty of the cave. Everything was
He wanted to relax it, going deep into the psyche.
going as planned. But when it was time for the team to begin their ascent through a particularly narrow passage with a 90-degree turn, Patrick became unable to see Huotarinen's flashlight, so he naturally waited for his friend. Soon, he saw Huotarinen's flashlight waving around, which was a clear sign of distress, and as he turned back to look for his friend, he saw that Huotarinen had gotten stuck in a narrow passage behind him. Patrick did everything he could to help his friend, even managing to free him from the place he got stuck in. But it was far too late.
And look at a metaphor of someone that's in the deep realms of depression and psychological turmoil. How you can be walking along with your friend in life day to day, but they get stuck over like a relationship, losing a job, or just existential crisis about where they are in life. And they get stuck, and you go back, and you see their light of consciousness is in distress. and you try to help them while you can, but it doesn't work. And in doing so, you end up being caught in the turmoil and trauma of emotional distress.
as due to the
Friendship can be brutal sometimes.
immense amount of stress Hotarinen was going through. He ended up breathing the cave water as he panicked while trying to switch between breathing systems and drowned to death. Traumatized
Oh, wow.
but aware that the passage behind him was now too risky to traverse, Patrick decided to push forward towards Steinugelflaget. At the same time, Kai, Vesa, and Jari entered the cave, unaware of what had happened, but they too got in trouble. After reaching the deepest section of the cave, where Hoetarinen had died, Jari Usameki began panicking after Vesa, who was leading the group, told him about his friend's death. Kai, unaware of what was happening, saw Jari in a state of extreme panic and knew that if he didn't calm him down, he would soon lose his breath. Unfortunately, his attempts to calm him down were useless, and Jari ultimately drowned to death in his panic. After watching his friend die,
Wow. Wow. So trying to help each other in this rescue mission, SOS mission. He ended up dying too.
Kai was forced to turn back, coming to the conclusion that Vesa wouldn't survive either. Meanwhile, Vesa and Patrick, now separated from Kai, managed to make it out alive, but feared that Kai had also died. On the other hand, Kai thought Vesa and Patrick got lost on their way out. Finally, against all odds, Kai managed to get out of the cave alive and reunite with his friends, but the loss of Jari and Hoetarinen was devastating. For weeks, the bodies of Jari Hoetarinen and Jari Usameki remained trapped in the underwater labyrinth, and despite the authorities saying that a rescue mission would be impossible and banning any sort of diving activity in the Plurigrada, the three men refused to leave their friends behind. Two of the surviving divers organized a private recovery mission. They succeeded in retrieving the bodies from the cave, bringing them back to the surface for a proper farewell.
Damn. Man. Tragic. Man. That's the thing, man. That's this very Scorpio watery way of dealing with emotion is it would have been comfortable just to be like, okay, like, I'm gonna go with what the police says and says and like not, it's too dangerous. They're like, no, screw the comfort. I want, I prioritize the truth. And the truth of the matter is I gotta give my friends, my brothers, a proper send off, and that's what happened. That's Scorpio, man. Scorpio personality. Yeah. V1111, huh? Yeah. NBC the game 11/11/74. Oh yeah, Veterans Day, huh? That's your day. I'm the 10th of November. We're birthday buddies, huh? So what are your thoughts on the 13th planet side? Also your thoughts on sidereal astrology being the true real zodiac. Well, in terms of first of all, welcome. Good to have you, my friend. My thoughts on the 13th planet sign. I think that's kind of awesome. That 13th sign, what is it, like the caduceus? I think that brings a whole new modality paradigm to astrology, which, like I said, is a way of looking at your personality laid out on a system that's been around for thousands of years. Some of these zodiac systems, and I think that if you enjoy the 13th sign system and you're getting benefits out of it, it's helping you decode reality, then it's good. It's good because it works for you. I really do. I said this before on this broadcast. I believe that, and I know that you could take anything in this world we're living in and overlay it as a system in reading the signs of life in front of you, and you can get value out of it. You can make up your own astrological system, zodiac system, for sure, by naming all the planets after people or things, giving them attributes to what you believe is applicable, right? And still get value out of that. So what I'm saying is the 13th sign is good. And maybe it's good for someone that was like wasn't really feeling the traditional 12 sign zodiac. So I think it's good. I think 13 is an interesting number, a righteous number. When I do my Mayan astrology, another system that's been around for thousands of years, they use the 13 number 13. There's 13 days in their week, Prasenna. And on the 13th day, they call it ascension, where you go up basically into heaven, into new heights of new consciousness. So 13 is great. Yeah, that's a cool thing. In terms of the sidereal astrology, being the real astrology, yeah, it could be. It could be. Um, Sidereal, I think that Vedic astrology and Indian astrology. I think that in itself can give you a more detailed version of what's going on in your chart. The Vedic astrology give you more nuance than maybe the Western Babylonian astrology that we're used to. Um, yeah, it's good, and I think that these are all good. But when you say the truest, I'll go on a limb. Yeah, I'll say it's the truest for sure. It doesn't mean the other ones aren't valuable, very valuable, right? Yeah, I think you can get value out of that. Definitely. Damn, I missed quite a bit. Was there a line? You were online with the mechanic? Yeah. Did we got any Mercury? I think we're still Mercury and Gemini. Take care of your communications and your transporting vehicles. Mercury, Gemini, day to day travels, right? Not necessarily long distance Sagittarius travels, but day to day. So take care of your vehicles. That's important. You can always watch this on rerun. Thanks for the sub. Wow, that's a big number. See, there are 12 archetypes in numerology, and the hidden 44 master, which would be the 13th, is very interesting. Yeah, we can get all benefits from all that. And Patrick is someone I need to make some time for, that we get an in-depth conversation about that numerology, because it's fascinating and useful. And we can maybe ask him how it can make us more money. You're actually a Cancer sun and very Vedic. Okay. Yeah. We talked about the Cancers earlier, remember? The Cancers were I call them the soft shell with the steel will, right? Yeah. So that's a Scorpio, who we call the emotional alchemists, right? We value the truth. Hmm. What's up, Wiccan? Good to see you. Good to see you. Now the fourth, excuse me, the third modality of the water is the mutable Pisces. Mutable meaning it's very flexible, right, and malleable. We're gonna call the Pisces the dreamer of the deep. Erica Badu's a Pisces, right? And now we get into the Pisces, um, who's really the mystic, the artist, and the psychic sponge. And Pisces just don't feel their own emotion; they feel everyone's too, right? You know, people talk about empaths and whatnot. All the water signs are empathic, but the Pisces is the ultimate one. Maybe this is why their symbol is one fish going up and one fish going down. They're feeling everything, but in doing so, that can lead to just some confusion sometimes. You know, I know Pisces sun signs and rising signs who cry during Pixar movies, and they also randomly will know your dog's past life. It's fascinating, man. Put a one in the chat if you're fascinated by Pisces or any water signs. It's the last sign of the zodiac, so it has all the good traits of the signs. The Pisces energy is boundless, and it has no walls, no boundaries, right? No filters. It's just oneness. This is why a lot of times they're like, I'm over it. I can be this hippie shamanita, because in the end we're all one. What's the point of debating when we're already there? You're already there. You are already that. No need for enlightenment. You're here, in a sense, on one level, right? Maybe this is why Pisces can be frustrating too. Um, they can be super frustrating for other signs under the water lit. So you got some ones in there. Yeah. You said one, 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 one. Look at these. And we got the cancers, right? We love our cancers, huh? You love your emo fishies. Yeah. So Snow has says I love Vedic astrology too. It's ancient knowledge, very different. It takes longer to learn. So many tiny details. Yeah, that's the nuances. This is why what 1111 was talking about, the purest form of the truest form. I would say, from what I know about it, the Vedic is, but we still get benefits on the other Babylonian Western astrology. Think about it. The Hindu culture and religion is astrology is like a foundation of that to a certain extent. Marriages are based on that. Businesses or openings are based on that. Wars in countries are based on that. Yeah. And they're not the only countries. They're just upfront about it. They own their shit. So yeah, so back to the Pisces. The Pisces under the Pisces lit. They're fascinating. What's up, Gracie Gray? Good to see you. Yeah. Good to see you. Markilla says my daughter's birthday is 111 and she's quite the Spitfire. Yeah, that'd be a Cancer. Excuse me, a Capricorn, right? Or are you putting the 11 as the month? Because sometimes they do that in Taiwan. If it's a Capricorn, Capricorn is that fiery. That's the real snow fire, in a sense. That's the symbol of it anyway, where the Capricorn has the icy, stoic shell on the outside, but a fire within. Now, if it's 11-1, Scorpio, kind of similar in a sense that Scorpio can be very stoic and even look like they have a murderous look on their face, or a very sexy look on their face, but they can be like passionate and compassionate as hell on the inside. Okay, yeah, Capricorn. Okay, she's a Capricorn. That's the captain of the zodiac. Capricorns are interesting because I see them as a young person, they may have had to take on responsibilities because others around them weren't really picking up the slack. And even though they wanted to go play, for example, they had to get things done. And in doing so, they matured very fast. And so by the time they became adults, they became very successful in their business and had high status, Capricorn status. So what happens in career? So what happens is they accumulated a lot of money in status, so that when they get older, they can relax more and become a child that they never got the chance to be. While as their peers are getting older and worrying about, and they played so much and then cultivate finances and status that they can't play no more. They have to get serious and work even harder. While as the Capricorn's getting younger as they get older. Yeah. Number 11, that's transition, I think. 11, when I see 11, I think of resolution. So, yeah, we said the Pisces energy is, no boundaries, right? A lot of times, no walls, no filters, just oneness, which can cause people actually to take advantage of them sometimes. A Scorpio may think they can take advantage of a Pisces because, Scorpios love to strategize behind the scenes. And however, the whole time the Pisces may have been playing the Scorpio and been knowing what the Scorpio was doing. And then when the Scorpio finds out that they were being manipulated by the Pisces, that's crushing for the Scorpio, because they're like, we're the ones that are supposed to manipulate people and whatnot. Yeah, that oneness can be a double-edged sword, right? Because they can escape into fantasy. Let's see one more of this this modality of the examples of the water element. So when you look at these stories about the water, think about your own subconscious, and emotions.
Dam disaster. On January 4th, 2024,
There you go, January 4th, under the Capricorn lit, under the foundation of our reality lit. That's what Capricorn is. This happened during that.
experienced divers, Christopher Godet and Frederic Pochet, headed to the Plate Tile Reservoir, one of Belgium's most famous diving spots, for a night dive. This location offered various recreational activities, including sailing, snorkeling, and diving. However, there was a significant danger: a large dam that activated suddenly, depending on energy demands of the surrounding area. Aware of this issue, local authorities had established 2 safe zones with a radius of about 100 feet where diving was permitted. Going beyond these zones was extremely dangerous, as it could lead divers into the dam's active zone. Furthermore, the dam's intake tunnel entrances had no protective grids, as these required frequent replacement.
When I think about this, I think about the possibility of an extreme vacuum, air sign, intellect.
Every 2 to 3 months. One concerning aspect of the dive was the type of equipment the men decided to use. They were equipped with closed-circuit diving gear, which is a type of gear that is designed for extended dives, and underwater scooters, which are used to propel divers. This suggested that they might have planned to explore beyond the safe zones, closer to the dam. The primary danger of doing so was differential pressure. At around 5 p.m., the 2 men submerged and descended to a depth of 45 meters, near the dam's intake tunnel. At first, they likely heard nothing, as the dam was not on. But at some point, they may have heard a faint hum, the signal that the dam had suddenly been activated. 3 of the dam's 4 reversible pump turbines quickly powered on.
Oh man, that's water and air mix, emotion and intellect mixing.
Creating an overwhelming suction force. Within seconds, the 2 divers were pulled toward the dam and sucked into the intake tunnel. Later that evening, Frederic's son became concerned when his father didn't answer his calls. He went to the reservoir and found his father's car still parked. Sensing something was wrong, he immediately alerted the authorities. During their initial search, rescuers discovered damaged diving equipment, and although they couldn't confirm it belonged to the missing men, it raised suspicions. Poor weather conditions reduced the visibility and forced them to halt the search temporarily. Resuming at 10 a.m. the next day, they deployed helicopters equipped with thermal cameras, and after 46 hours of searching, human remains were recovered. An autopsy confirmed they belonged to the 2 divers. We may never know whether they went so close to the dam intentionally, even though their equipment suggests that they might have. Remember to check out today's sponsor.
I'm telling you, man, that under the Capricorn lit, the Capricorn man-made structures on this earth, in order to build a foundation, to live, Capricorn foundation. When it was mixed with the water element, it didn't work out good with these guys diving right there. Here, I got a comment. Sherelle says Capricorn ruling planet is Saturn, which is considered Satan planet. The cube, the symbol, is half human, half horse, like Baphomet, the ruler of this planet, Earth sign. Yeah, I could see Saturn being a ruler, more like a manager of Earth, right? I would think that if the Earth did have a sun sign, it would be Taurus, very grounded, right? However, that's like the Earth, but the world, meaning what man made on top of the Earth, would definitely probably be Capricornian structure. Capricorn is, in the Capricorn narrative origin story, it's seen as the later corruption of Satan coming down here on Earth and trying to rule over it. And Saturn sounds like Satan or Shaitan, right? And the structure of the cube, when I've done broadcasts about the cube, Saturn Moon Matrix cube, the black cube, like when you see it all over the world. The biggest one is in Mecca, the Kabbalah. The people go around in a circle like the rings of Saturn when they worship it. In Islam, during their pilgrimage, the black cube, black is like the power color. The judges wear black, their robe. The police officers wear black. Quote unquote black people are considered looked upon as some of the greatest people here on Earth. And at the worst, some of the scariest if you live in the hood. Black is it's not even a color, it's where all the primary colors come from, right? Um, the Saturn cube, one far out theory is that this is where our reality comes from. If we're living in a holographic reality here on Earth, this is like a video game as a metaphor. And in order for a video game to work, you have to have a server that's playing the game and projecting it onto your screen. And that server may be Saturn, right? That's the server of this matrix, of this simulation, we could say. And the black cube is pumping in that energy here on Earth and using the moon as a network to reflect that on here on Earth. Yeah, but Saturn is definitely about structure, about hard lessons in life, delayed gratification, and it teaches you lessons so you can come out better, right? It holds off on things you think you need in order to tell you a lesson. Kronos, sure, yes, Kronos is the keeper of time. I love the story of Kronos and how Kronos was born in Greek mythology, right? That's Kronos and Zeus. I like how Zeus his brothers were eaten by his father because he was worried about them taking over. And Zeus came out of that and survived it and was able to be the king of the gods, right? The emperor of emperors. The emperor of emperors. Yeah. Shout out to the emperor of emperors.
Book of Gabriel, the God of Taiwan, peace and continued success. To the Emperor of Emperors, I salute you. Book of Gabriel, the God of Taiwan, peace and continued success. To the Emperor of Emperors, I salute you.
Yes, Saturn's the hardest of the lessons. Keeper of time. Okay. Yes, Saturn. The hardest. Yeah. They tell you things, Capricorn. This is why Saturn and Capricorn are usually in the 10th house. The house that has to do with your midheaven, your status, and your theme of your life, your career. Yeah. We're merely the players, yeah. They're watching us like some archons watching us, or some devas and the Buddhist angels. Or the Titans, the gods in the Mount Olympus, watch us and play games with us. Right? But they still want to be us, though. And it's kind of a weird dynamic how this is. We have power here, too. Excuse me. Now, if you guys want, you're more than welcome to come up. I'm going to drop the link. We'll be here for a little bit longer. Usually I go from 6 to 7 Eastern. But I needed to get a little bit more sleep. It's a busy week, busy month. So yeah, if you want to come up and talk astrology, please come up. Keep it on topic. You know what I mean? If there's some other metaphysical musings you have, keep it up. Let's talk about it. Yeah. But if you, yeah, keep it on topic though. All right. In the meantime, Ben, my son, I want you to listen to this master teacher, Dilo the Pilot Man, and what he has to say about the water signs. Let's watch this. You guys, listen to this man's words. You know, he knows a lot about how astrology is your personality on default.
Flight boss, bitch, you know, for sure. You're now listening to the mind of that Terry Smooth, flight boss to Archangel Uriel, and I'm here to carry out God duties and motherfucker responsibilities. And right now, we're going to talk about clash of the water signs. Now, right here, this is Cancer versus Scorpio versus Pisces. Now, there's a big misconception right now going on where everyone thinks that just because you are the same element or the same sign, that you actually going to agree with this person. And you need to understand that no signs is the same. Now, the only thing that you guys is going to agree upon is that you guys are dealing with the emotions and feelings. But beyond that, You are not the same, and you guys may clash on how you handle the emotions and feelings amongst each other. One water sign may think the other one is reckless and careless with the emotions and feelings. One water sign may think the other one is unstable with the emotions and feelings. One water sign may think the other water sign is too constructive, too restrictive with their emotions and feelings. So you guys is going to clash. So you need to understand that no sign is the same. Now, just signs being in the same element, the only thing right here is that's connecting y'all is the frequency vibration of toleration. Right? There's with the same element or conjunction or the same sign that creates possibilities for a person to be tolerable in your life, or create possibilities for situations to be tolerated. But
here's the thing, man. Like, you know, these are all possibilities. I like that word. How I say it over the years on these broadcasts. The possibility is she may like you or she may not. The possibility is like these astrology modalities. They say a lot of high we call it a high caliber stuff, high powered information. However, it's a possibility only. You don't know what actually is going to happen until you get out there. You're saying 1111 V1111, you know, Logan declared your reality. I've seen him him on that other guy that talks about Tartarium and all that stuff. What's his name on the show? We'll screen snipe him real quick. This guy, he's live right now, huh? Decode your reality. Oh wait, nah, he was gonna go live. He's gonna go live. Let's see what he has to say real quick. His last.
I would think it'd be more masculine because it's like I'm going to do what I want, and that's more Mars energy and testosterone and the night.
Mars energy, yeah. I hear everybody in the panelverse saying the Mars energy. Mars, where we get that from? We got that from NPC the Game Live in our community, right? The live. Shout out to Sherelle and Cynthia and Joe for pushing that meme.
But again, I guess we'll find out. But I also think that there's a possibility that we have stages within each yuga: golden, silver, bronze, iron, and that means that when you move into the age of Aquarius, you're moving into the golden age of the Aquarian age.
I would say that because if we're in these big epochs of time right now that we're living in, the golden age or the Kali Yuga or the Iron Age, even in those long epochs of time, it's broken up into we'll say it like the Mayans say it, days and nights. Nights of activity, nights of more introspective, days of positivity, nights of negativity. Right? Yeah. Time is interesting.
Even though it's the dark age, it's the golden age of the dark age.
The golden age of the dark age. Okay, I definitely thank you for reminding me about him. I definitely remember liking resonating with what he had to say. So yeah, he's definitely on my list again. Thank you, V1111, for that. I love it. Yeah. Let me get you another one. So let me see if you ever heard of D-Lo, the pilot man or flight boss. Because like I said, he definitely knows his astrology.
As that, no signs are the same. So let's get into it. This is the clash of the water signs. Now, here's why you guys are different. Now, we're going to get into Cancer. Cancer is cardinal water. You see,
Grace, was it Ozzy, Markella, and the folks that have that Cancer vibe? Listen up right here.
You know what I'm saying? So that's like the wave. That's like the spark. All cardinal signs are the spark. Scorpio is like the fixed water. So this is condensed water. So anything condensed, compressed becomes stable. Anything too stable becomes what? In this case, it's water. So it becomes frozen. So Scorpio is like the ice of the situation. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to cardinal, that's the spark. When it comes to the fix, that's the stability of it, the foundation, the shape and form of it. And when
that's why us Scorpios we tend to obsess over things, sometimes over people too, right? Good and bad.
Comes to the mutable, that's the
we can become your greatest enemy or your greatest friend.
Transformation of it. So Pisces is going to
Be
be
the way
like
we
the wave.
become
The wave
obsessed.
spread it out. After the ice then melted, and after the wave then came, after the wave then settled and froze, and after it then melt and transformed, then able to settle at an even collective conscious type of level. It could connect with all the waters. There's no separation. There's an even flow. There's no chaotic wave going on like Cancer, or there's no too much subtleness like Scorpio. There's even everything is connected and is on the same wavelength. So now that you can understand that, you can understand where you guys may clash at. So for the most part, Cancers are a little bit more expressive with their emotions and feelings. So they like to create the vibe, and if they're in a situation or circumstance that don't match their vibe, they can become highly uncomfortable. And
Yep, that's what I was talking about. Like they do create the vibe, Cancers. Super men and women with their feelings and whatnot. But like I said, if they are feeling uncomfortable, they have a knack for making other people feel uncomfortable.
they could become homesick, or if the situation that they go to is
Like a good example is Mel Furby, right?
not home-like, it could become uncomfortable to the point that people need Cancers to shape and form the vibration, to shape and form the vibe of the area. So a lot of times they go to is not uncomfortable, and they could become homesick, or if the situation that they go to is not home-like, it could become uncomfortable to the point that people need Cancers to shape and form the vibration, to shape and form the vibe of the area. So a lot of times this Cancer being around make people feel home, even if they're in a situation and circumstance that's reckless and chaotic. So for an example, you may have a best friend that's a Cancer, right? Now, even though a Cancer may not be outgoing, you may have certain Cancers that is outgoing. Now, these ones, this would be the Cancer that you love to go out with, because you don't feel like you're nowhere, or you don't feel like you're somewhere by yourself. You would take a Cancer with you. You feel home. You feel comfortable around this person. You know this person got your back. You know this person. You see what I'm saying? And you off the back.
Yeah, I didn't see anybody donating, so which is fine, I guess. But we appreciate donating, so I had to get the party started. Myself, I'll donate to myself. 30 NT, new Taiwanese dollars from NPC the game. Yes, I have to pat myself on the back for doing this water lit for you, Ben.
Pay him. Pay that man his money.
Yeah. And I gotta say, anyone that's I put the link, if you're gonna come up, keep it astrology. I don't want to hear your panel beefs or whatnot without it relating it to what we're talking about the water signs or the emotional nature of things, right? Yeah, keep it on topic, man. This is not a therapy session unless you pay me, huh? So he says, Snow says, I have 12 nieces and 10 of them are Cancers. Wow. I must say I would have never want to be on their bad side. Yeah, man, that's like a whole bunch of Cancerverse waiting to happen. I'm sure they're extremely loving, but when they're in a mood, they're in a mood, man.
This person going to let you know, or they wear their emotions on their sleeves, or they wear their heart on their shoulders, per se, for the lack of words. So you know how they feel. You know what they're going to do. You know what's going on with them. So when it comes to a Cancer, they're more expressive. So when it comes to a Cancer and a Scorpio, this situation could go bad a lot faster than a Cancer and a Pisces, because here Scorpio is fixed water, so it's fixated. So a lot of times you may not even know how a Scorpio feel. A lot of time a Scorpio may create a certain expression, and this is what Scorpios got in common with the square Leo, with their square sign Leo. They share fixated nature, but a lot of times they share this also. They know how to create expressions for other people to see, but that expression that they create, that persona that they create, may not necessarily be the true them.
Right. I'm just trying to let you know what's really going on. We may not actually be in that mode ourselves, but we want to share something with you. Hey, what's up, Mike? How's it going, man?
What's up, man? Salute to you, man. Astrology is so important, and and I can kind of get into that. Like, I'm a Leo, right? But I'm born on the 26th of July. Now, I was supposed to be born a few days earlier, so I was supposed to be a Cancer, supposed to be. But then sometimes it's a little bit late, and it's funny because like I'm a Leo, so I'm very fiery, but I do have Cancer traits. In other words, I do try to be understanding to people, even though I'm an a-hole sometimes, as a Leo is an a-hole. You know, a Cancer is very a nurturing, very understanding person. And my mother and my son is a Cancer. And, you know, Cancers are very unique people, very unique. They are very loving and understanding. They're not
Oh
someone to
yeah.
push around. They're not someone to push around, but they hear you out. Where a Leo is more defensive than accepting. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah. I mean, and he was saying that it's funny how what Flight Boss was just talking about. The Scorpio and Leo are very much alike, even though one's fire, one's water. Look at me.
Yeah.
I'm a Scorpio. You're a Leo, right? My best friend is for years is a Leo, and I have to say the Cancers are very loving, and there is overlap with Leo though too, because Leos are very loving too. It's just a different way about it. But I
Sure.
think the Leo lovingness is their generosity. Like, don't get it twisted. They are kings and whatnot, but they can be some of the most generous people, man,
Yeah.
that I ever met. Yeah.
The most protective. We're the most protective. If we love
One of the most,
somebody,
yeah.
if we love somebody, we will protect you tooth and nail. But this crazy thing is that Pisces and Leos, I think, are not supposed to be together because they're like opposite signs.
You can
But
crush
both,
the Pisces, bro. That's the thing
but
about the Pisces. They can be
but
crushed
both of
easily
my
sometimes.
both I have two sons. Both of my sons' mothers are Pisces, and it both, you know, it's like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? You know, but like I think astrology is something to take it to, you know, to look at, because I
Yeah.
think the moon signs do align how you associate or disassociate with people. But you know, it's wild. But I don't know what it is about Leos and Pisces. I don't know what it is. And I'll tell you what, Pisces women are usually super hot. I'm just telling you. Like they're like super hot, super sassy. You know, I'm not putting anyone else down, but
Yeah.
my
Well,
son,
I was talking about that, man. Like how like I gave
yeah,
the Erica Badu as an example. I think Rihanna
yeah,
is a Pisces as well. And that's just celebrities, let alone like the regular women that are goddesses walking around. Like you said,
yeah,
Pisces. There's something about them. They're very magical and they have a
yeah.
weird vibe that like when they're with you, like they're like great and it's stunning. But then when they're away, I kind of forget about them. Almost like a
Yo,
ghost, like a spirit, in a way.
yo,
But when
in
they
my
come back, I remember them again.
20s, in my early 20s, I was the lion, the fiercest lion, the Leo.
Uh-huh.
And this Pisces could tame me just with a look, just with a look.
Yeah.
So yes, they have a
Yeah.
magic. They have a magic about them.
Yeah.
And I'm just telling, and they're usually gorgeous. Pisces are usually very beautiful women. And
Yeah.
they get you. But the whole thing is that I'm gonna tell you this, and I'm always brutally honest. My son, okay, he's gonna be 25 soon. I'm
Mhm.
50. Okay, my son is now reverting to giving me advice because my son
Mhm.
has a Cancer, calms down the lion. Dad,
Yeah, they
relax,
can't do that.
chill, take a breath. You know, just think things through. Because the whole point of me saying this is that the Cancer is the arbiter of reason. They're reasonable people, you know, versus the fire sign. You know, does that make sense to you?
Yeah, I mean they can read a situation very good because water can encompass what the whole situation is in a second.
Yeah.
But the thing about fire is good though too. This is why fire and water are more alike, are alike more than fire and air or fire and earth. Water and fire see reality for what it is more than those other signs. I think in general, fire can
Yeah.
burn through illusions of reality. Water can encompass the situation, and it becomes it. Right. That's why we get along a lot of times. Good.
So what is your sign? What is your sign, bro?
Well, my sun sign is Scorpio.
You're
Scorpio.
okay. All right.
And
Gotcha.
I have a lot of Scorpio in my chart, but one of my favorite positions is my Leo placement. I have Leo and Mars is what triggers you to action, what triggers you to war. and I do my Mars in terms of in a Leo way. This is why I like to broadcast. I like to have my actions on spotlight so people can see me. Not so much for the accolades, but of like, oh, you did this. No, I want you to see me actually doing it. This is why I was an athlete, growing up. I like to perform that way.
Yeah, me too. I play basketball. I play football. I went. When I was younger, oh, no doubt. I had a lot of gifts from God. Gifts God gave me. I could dunk a basketball. I could do all these different things.
Damn.
I could score a touchdown. I can do all these things. I'm 6'3". I'm not short, but I'm not like 7 foot tall. But the thing is that because of that, I had to have 2 knee surgeries. I had to get 2 reconstructions. The thing is that sports does break your body down, but like when you are an alpha male, you do these things. But the thing is that astrology, to me, people always put astrology down, but I think it's very important. I think it's very important to understand that when you're born under certain stars, you have certain traits.
Yeah.
You have certain traits when you're born under certain stars, and that some people are more aggressive, more passive aggressive. They're more loving. They're more hateful. And the thing is that being a Leo, I'm how can I say this respectfully? I'm a Leo, but I believe I'm half Leo, half Cancer. I'm half in, half out.
Well, yeah, man, you're in the cusp, because either way, even though you're technically a Leo, you're still cuspian, and you have elements of both signs right there.
That's it.
And I see. Who's that? You know who that is? My favorite baseball player, Barry Bonds, is a cuspian Leo. He's around your birthday, and I see it with him because I grew up in the Bay Area. I know like people he knows and all that shit, and he seems like a dick to a lot of people, but like to the people he loves, he's very loyal and a good person. And he's, as we already know, he's one of the greatest athletes of all time, right? And he's very polarizing. Look at these people in the chat. Some of them were like, they're like, alpha male. But here's the thing about you, Mike. The way you portray yourself online, I think what I'm assuming that I think it's you probably adding a little bit more to what you are. But I truly believe what you said about like how you run, you ran shit in the past, and maybe even now. You have that. I see those Leo characteristics. How I don't think it's all bravado and all persona. I can see how you embody that stuff. So, and people can think what they want to think and all that. And that's the thing, especially with astrology. Like people will talk shit even in the panelverse. They'll be like, "Oh, astrology," and that's fine. You can think what you want, but we know the billionaires know, and the majority of people on Earth know that there's something to this science, right?
No doubt. And it's funny because when people talk about a duality of man, this is the funniest thing. Sorry about, I got a little bit of a cold.
Yeah, you and me both.
But the whole thing is that people don't understand that a lot of people come online and they play a part. But if you know me in real life, I'm actually a really good person. I've raised children. If you came to my house and you were hungry, I would feed you. I would do anything you need. If you need to ride somewhere, whatever, and the whole thing is that people like to judge other people, but astrology is interesting. But I think people that fall between the 2 signs have duality. In other words, you're half in, half out. If you like, in other words, but I think the most complicated, you are. But I think the most complicated people, that are people like myself, my son, my mother, other people, when you fall between Cancer and Leo, you contradict yourself. You're a contradiction because you're fire and you're ice at the same time. Yeah. So it's an interesting thing to be. But what we do is the thing is this, brother, the thing is we can appeal to aggressive people and non-aggressive people. We can assimilate into the 2.
That's why I would think, like we say alpha and stuff, but what we're speaking on to me is more of a sigma. In a sense where the sigma can be alpha when it needs to be, it can be a humble, almost a beta. Because here's the thing about beta, dude. Even the most alpha person has to be a beta sometimes and humble themselves, right? Sure. Yeah, but like a sigma can either be with groups or be by themselves, the lone wolf. And so this is what I think to me is more conducive to someone who can run in many circles. And I think me and you have a commonality like that. Yeah. Joe Cool says right here, he says, a true, what do you say? A true, alpha, if there is such a thing, would move in silence, wouldn't have to tell people. Yeah, I mean, you would think, but hey, man. And here's the thing: alpha is a term that we first saw zoologists use about wolf packs. However, I mean, we use it colloquially now. You know what we're talking about when we say alpha.
If you knew me in my 20s, I was a real a-hole. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was a conceited a-hole. I was.
Mm-hmm.
And then when my son was born, I'm just giving you my synopsis. When my son was born, I was 20, 23, 24 years old. My life changed. Like having a child and having responsibilities,
me too.
like that. But the thing is that, like, before that, pretense to that, I was just like, yeah, F the world. I'm gonna make this money. I'm gonna do what I want. You know, but I mean, when you have a family, you change. So I flipped from Leo into that Cancer mode, the loving, the caring part. So I do think that some people have both traits within them. Now, going back to Pisces, the one thing about Pisces that I've heard is that they're very promiscuous. Now, I don't know that to be true, but they're very much into like self-loathing and like they're very arrogant. And I could be wrong, But,
no, I have a whole thing about Pisces, man. Some of the crews I used to run with, like, they're almost racist when it comes to Pisces. They hate Pisces, and there's a lot of things to hate about them. The negative things about them. A lot of times people say that they do the victim role thing. Victim roles. Sometimes they're big time drunks. That's actually a commonality I have to watch out for, in terms of like when I'm Leo likes to have a good time. So they like to drink sometimes, right? And have a good time. Pisces likes to escape, right? And they use substances for that. So when they come together, there's that possibility. But any side can be promiscuous. But yeah, Pisces look at the sign, Mike. It's a fish going this way and the one going the opposite way. That's confusing, right? That's very confusing.
They're contradicting themselves. They're contradicting themselves. Yeah.
Yes. But what the thing is, though, with that contradiction on a higher octave in the perfect world, that's actually very Zen, right? When one thing can mean one thing, but it can mean the opposite at the same time. So it's a matter of getting balance. And when you look at Pisces, if I want to balance out my Pisces traits, look at Virgo, which is the opposite of Pisces. Whereas Pisces looks at the bigger picture, Virgo looks at the small picture. And I think Pisces, sometimes it can be scattered brains. They can learn from the Virgos and how to be analytical and being organized. Where then the Virgo can learn from the Pisces, where the Virgo is more of a overthinker and super critical. They can look to the Pisces and look at the bigger picture. So all these things can help us out and whatnot. All these modalities and whatnot.
I just think if you need counsel in life, if you need to talk to somebody with no rebuttal, a Cancer is the best to speak to about things in your life. I think a Cancer has that non-judgmental. When I talk to my son, it's no judgment. It's just like having a conversation. But I'll talk to like my ex who's a Pisces, and she's like trying to judge me. It's like, yo, what are you doing? It's like I'm trying to talk to you like a human being. But I think
maybe all the signs have that characteristic, but I've seen that in Pisces and Cancer. But then I have a good friend. He used to be my best friend. He was a Cancer, but he's super judgmental. He's one of the most judgmental people I know. But here's the thing: with that said, I mean, he gave me what I needed, even though I didn't like it at the time. It could
be judgmental to help you. It could be a form of therapy. You know what I'm trying to say? Yeah. Like he's judging you to push you in the right direction.
For sure.
My son has done that. My son has caught me slipping before, and he's like, "Yo, Dad." And my son is in his mid-20s. He's like, "Dad, come on, man. You need to do this, this, and this." And you need that. You need someone that you love to kind of push you in the right direction. You know,
do.
but you know,
Yeah.
can a cancer step in? Yes, but they do it. But hear me out. They do it lovingly. They don't do it like F this, F that. They do it lovingly. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I've seen that. But like what I
Yeah.
said is that they can also do it like other ways too, like
Yeah.
not
Tough
so
love.
tough love. But yeah, they're very loving to me.
Yeah.
I was like I said, I was blessed to have a mother that was a Cancer sun sign. That's the ultimate. That's the archetype of a Cancer, the nurturer. But
Yeah.
but she also can punish me pretty good when I need it. Shout out to who's that? Oh, Divine Sparks 313. Good to see you. And Joe Cool has a question. He says, "Does being closer to the cusp mean you share more traits?" Yes, you have both. Like Mike was saying that he's in the middle of Cancer and Leo, so yeah, you have both traits.
Yeah, we do.
It's like a hybrid, kind of like a mixed person. Like I'm quote unquote black and white. So I'm privy to what conversations that happen in the black community as well as in the quote unquote white community. And in doing so, this is more information.
You know what's crazy?
You know
what's crazy? I will
What's up?
feel myself. I will feel myself being Leo, right? I'll feel myself being Leo and getting upset and being angry, and then I'll feel the Cancer saying, "Stop, chill out, pull it back."
Yeah. Put some water
So in
on
other
that
words,
fire.
it's within your it's within your mind. In other words, pull it back, chill out.
Yeah.
But there are some Leos that can't stop. They're just they can't stop.
I
And
mean,
there are
look at
some. What?
the most famous Leo in the panelverse right now, besides yourself, is Jack Telcott. He's a Leo, right? And with the Scorpio rising. And I've noticed because observing Leos for 30 years that like sometimes because their planet's the sun, right? And the sun loves it because all the other planets go around it. They need the sun, all right? And so sometimes when the sun is not the center of the attention, the person, the Leo, sometimes they become very quiet and almost like reserved. And I see that as like kind of like how a sun, after a while, what happens to it? It becomes a black hole, right?
Sure.
Right. And so, but the point is the gift, Leo, you can learn how to be the center of attention, but also learn how that other people, without your subjects, if you're the king, the subjects, you wouldn't be nothing. And that's Aquarius. This is where Aquarius comes into. That's the opposite of Leo. So Leos can learn a lot from Aquarius too, and that thing too. Yeah.
But I think that the whole thing, brother, the whole thing is that like if you're born this way, you can change to a certain extent, but you can't reverse. If that makes sense. Like Aquarius is the opposite of Leo, but you can't be an Aquarius. You can learn from them, but you can't completely assimilate into their thinking. So I understand.
No. Especially if that's your sun sign, but you can learn how to be a Leo with Aquarius trait, and then Leo in an Aquarius style. Yeah, but you're right. You can't go against what they call it, natural law, right?
Yeah,
but you can learn from it
all the way.
Yeah, my thing is like this: astrology is great and it's a wonderful way to communicate. However, I believe it's a way of looking at your personality, but I think there's something beyond your personality. Maybe it's your soul or your spirit, and that's the real quote unquote real you. So there's always ways to, with free will, to go like kind of like push through your zodiac sign, but it takes a lot of work, I think.
And my ex-wife said to me, she goes, this is what she believed. She's a Pisces. She believed that if you conceive a child when you guys are having issues in your personal life, that stress carries over into the child. That's what she had said. I don't know it to be true, but that energy carries into the newborn. That energy. So what I believe, this is what I believe. I believe everything in life is about energy. I believe if you have positive energy, amazing. But if you have negative energy and you're a powerful entity, it's going to affect other people. Your energy is infectious. It's going to, and I don't know if you ever see me troll people on other channels. Like I troll the living piss out of people.
Yeah. I've seen you give it to them. Yeah.
Yeah. But I feel bad afterwards. I feel bad. Afterwards because it's not who I'm supposed to be. But it's also necessary when someone attacks you, you have every right to attack back. So in other words,
you do, but like I'm learning under the Machiavelli lit though chamber, you don't like a real. To me, and this is my opinion, the real ones they don't say shit. They can like be like, okay, you believe that? Okay, we'll let you do your little thing, and then like if you choose to get revenge, is this best served cold, right? And yes, you can react, and maybe sometimes you do on even under Machiavelli's thing lit, but like. I'm seeing, bro. It's not some of these people aren't worth it. If we are that regal king under the Leo chamber, bro, come on, bro. Like a fucking a king, he don't respond to some peon pissant. No disrespect to some of these people in the panelverse, but is you're talking shit to me? I'm like, who the fuck are you? But I can keep that to myself and keep it moving, especially if I have my own castle, like right here, that me and you are chilling in right now. Because Mike, if we take the conversation we have right now, this high level consciousness vibe, but that we're energy we're doing right now, and fucking do the rest of our day, like have that in our pocket and not like troll people or let people get to us on other panels. I mean, who knows what we could do? But as soon as we start engaging in that low level tabloid shit, we kind of like muck about all this work we're doing right here, you know.
Sure. There's a couple people that have been trying to troll me, and what I do is I don't feed them because I let them die. So in other words, if you feed them, you give them more exposure, like you're saying. But if you don't feed them, if you just ignore them, then they have nothing to go off of,
right?
You know, and so but some people I like to engage, and when I engage certain people, I'll tell you why. Because I want to expose them as the bad people that they are. I want to expose them. I want to poke at them, and then I pull back. So I call it the circular troll. You probably heard me say the circular troll before. You take them in circles. So what you do is you poke them, and then you pull back, and you let them expose themselves, because they say the most horrendous things, talking about your family, your passed away relatives. Because they can never fight you in person. They could never face you in person. But you're right. You should starve. No, you're right. You should starve them completely of any kind of interaction. And you're right. You're exactly right. So, but the problem is this. When you have that half Leo in you, bro, when you have that half Leo, it's hard to tame the line.
I know, man.
It's hard.
Bro, like I told you, like my friend, I talk about him, Brian the Leo. He was a Marine. He's still my best friend now, like besides Buddha, shout out Buddha. But like, dude, I've seen him get into so many fights, been arrested, fucking like almost ruin his life because he could not let the disrespect go when he felt like he was disrespected. Whereas I'll keep it moving, but I still want to kill you,
bro.
Like I'll keep it moving though. Yeah.
Bro, you'll see me in panels, right? And I'm totally chill. I'm totally chill. I'm good to go. And then you'll see me snap into Leo. Like you'll see it out of nowhere.
Here on my broadcast, lightweight.
Yeah, and it's not because you're not mentally ill. It's just that astrology, that fire comes out when you've had enough. The lion comes out. Now,
we're too smart, Mike, to let the astrology get to us. We can transcend that. So I think it's more this. Like, yes, it's our Leo, our fire, and all that. But part of it is, I'm gonna speak for myself, bro. It's a panel addiction, man.
Sure.
There's something else going on here too, where we feel, you know what I mean? We can't get enough of this shit at times.
People talk about crashing out, and it's funny because when I get upset, right? When I get upset. The one thing I can tell you is I catch myself. I'll put my hand up and I'll go like that, and I'll reel myself back in. So I get upset and then I pull myself back. I know how to pull but unfortunately, I do let people get the best of me sometimes. But when I do, brother, when I do, I roast the living piss out of people. It is hilarious. It is funny as hell. And it makes good content for people because, you know, it is what it is. Like I was roasting people yesterday, but the thing is that, you know, but when you log off, you're like, you know, I probably shouldn't have said that. I probably shouldn't have did that. I probably should have took a different approach.
Absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely.
so
Maybe you could think of your sun under the Cancer lit, and
yeah,
like in the middle of it, be like, wait, let me pause for a second, bite my
yeah.
tongue, then pimp off or whatever.
My son came down. I don't think I told you this. My son works in Canada a lot. He lives in Michigan, but he works in Canada.
Uh-huh.
And he came down to visit me, and it was just beautiful. Like when he came down to
Thanks,
visit me,
Markella.
it was like it was like serene. It was like walking through a park, like just
Yeah.
having him around. His energy, his Cancer energy was so calming, you know, and it was nice to have, and but the thing is that, yes, I do believe astrology is real, and I do believe that certain people have different energies, and I think other energies can calm you for the good or aggravate you for the bad. So I think certain people should figure out what's their moon sign, what's their sun sign, because
Mhm.
certain people don't interact, personally. It's true. That's
Oh,
just
it
the
takes
truth.
more. It'll take more work if you want to. We'll say that
Sure,
too.
sure.
Like you could do
Yeah.
it, but it's gonna take more work. And Mike does offer some really good advice that, especially people that are new to it, like just figure out your sun and your moon. If you're really ambitious, your rising, but your sun and your moon, that's a good place to start. That can
Sure.
entertain you for hours because that there's a lot to be said when just those two modalities. The sun is like your outward expression, and the moon is like your inner dialogue, we can say, to make it simple. So if you know those two modalities, that covers a lot of your consciousness.
If people can,
Yeah.
if people can understand one thing, anyone listening, everything in life is about energy. The energy you intake and energy you give out. If you can figure out an energy that's going to be good for you, then go for it. If it's a bad energy, run from it. Energy is everything. There are certain people in the world that you want to stay away from, and there are certain people in the world that you want to gravitate towards. And
Yeah.
that's the whole that I think is a secret of life. To go towards people that are going to care about you, they're going to love you, they're going to take care of you. Get away from the people that are negative. Just get away from them. Don't hate them. Let them live their own hateful life somewhere else, but just get away from them. That's
Hmm.
all I'm trying to say. You know, because at the end of the day, if you believe in a higher power, you're not allowed to judge other people. But if you don't feel like you're vibing with them, just get away from them. Separate yourself from them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I agree. I resonate with that. This is why I don't really go on panels that much, because I kind of, the more I do, the more I have contempt for about 93% of the people I'm around here. And that's not a good place I want to be. I rather just be like, okay, you do what you do, even though I don't resonate with it. That's you. Right. So this is why I stay here, and then I have cool people that want to pop up and add to the build, which you did, bro. You came through, because there's been times when a lot of people, they come up here and they don't really have anything to add on the topic. But I appreciate you
Sure.
coming through, man, and added
Of
a
course.
true build. This is what men do, and women. If you want to come up, women, don't be afraid. Don't be scared.
Of course, come up. But there's very few people. There's very few people that are very transitional, like in YouTube. Like, in other words, I'll give you an
Mm-hmm.
example. I can go on a chaos channel, and I can troll
Mm-hmm.
piss out of people. I can come on your panel and have a conversation. But a lot of people can't do that. They can't transition, or I call it pivot. I've been saying pivot, and now everyone's saying pivot. Pivot into a different topic. Because the thing is that this is an educational channel for people to come up, men and women to come up and have a conversation. This is not a poop flinging contest. If you know, I'm sure
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is
Thank
not,
you for saying that. I mean,
yeah,
it happens from time
yeah,
to
yeah,
time. You can't stop
yeah.
that, but like
This is
for the
not,
most
this is
part,
not,
we're striving for
yeah,
educational and some fun.
this is not the gorilla throwing poop at you through the cage, in the zoo. I mean, this is more of like, educational. And the problem is that I was going to a channel that was a mental health channel, and then
Yeah.
this person was letting people up that were trolls, and it
Uh-huh.
just went completely off the rails. I mean, just off the rails. So I'm like, all right, that's cool. I just won't go back.
Now
But I do,
yeah.
yeah, but I do. Like you said, when you know, you know. But the
Yeah.
thing is that you can't. Someone can't say that they want this particular topic sector and then go back into like potty mouth humor. So if you want potty
Well,
mouth, go potty mouth. I'm saying this.
It's
This
funny you
particular
say that
person.
because I got a new friend. I mean, I've known of him for years, but like
Sure.
Max Extreme, aka Hormaxer. Let me make. He has a big announcement. It's kind of like what you said, but it says, "Good evening, NPC. I'm starting my Pornhub tonight. Life affirming sex, pumps, and something Markella will never know." Wow. Okay. See, right on cue, right? Right on cue. And that's that man. This is what we normally don't talk about those things on this channel.
Sure,
However,
sure.
that's Max's his passion in life, his pleasure. And one thing I like about Max is the fact that he owns his shit. Like
Sure.
that's the life he wants to lead, man. And he does.
NPC, the one thing I've learned is that there are a lot of content creators like yourself that have two separate channels. They'll have a channel
Uh-huh.
for for conversation, and they'll have a
Yeah.
channel for drama. So I'm just
Right.
saying that, but you can't bring the drama to that one, and you can't bring the conversation to the other one.
Yeah.
So in other words, you may possibly want to consider if you want to go into those different realms. Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I do have two other channels that actually have 1,000 subs each almost. And and pretty much they're like this channel. My thing, this was my potty mouth channel. It started off as that. And it was an experiment, bro. But the point is, like, I'll take some of the potty mouth stuff, like Max, we were talking about sex, which is cool, However, it won't necessarily be the priority, but I can shift channels and stuff. It's just that if something's getting out of hand, I'm learning how to put a stop to it and like put it back to thing. Well, we can have some drama here every now and then. It's kind of exciting. Like, Mike, I think like you said, you like to do positive stuff, but you also like to troll, in the fiery troll nature or whatever. But the point is like, for me anyway, not letting it get out of hand. I'm pointing more to the positive than the fuckery so much.
I think the biggest problem I have is that people know that I love my family and stuff like that, and I've been on channels recently where they're talking about like my kids and stuff and like PDF claims and which is completely untrue. It's been proven to be untrue, and they just continue to go and go and go because people like that kind of coverage. So what I do is I just remove myself from that channel. If you're going to allow somebody to make fake claims about people's family, it's just not somewhere I'm going to be. Now, the person that did these things was removed, was banned. So I'm still there. The person's banned. You can't just come online and make fake claims about somebody that is criminal claims. I can say to you, I'm just hear me out. NPC, you ugly MFer, you jive turkey. That's locker room humor, right? But if I say to you that you break the law and you don't deal with that kind of stuff, that's the person that needs to be dropped and removed from the panel. But the thing is that a lot of people, when they're losing a battle, they go the lowest they can go. People will listen. Like, you love your family, right? I know you love your family. Okay.
This is my channel for my son. Yeah.
Right. So someone will come in. You wouldn't let them, you'd drop them, but someone would come in that didn't like you and would talk about your family, and that would trigger you into flipping out. So that's what they do. They try to go as low as possible.
Well, that's I want to call myself a troll, but like for me, if there's the people have seen it in my time, it's been a year almost. I've been on the Panelverse. That like the times I have quote unquote crashed out, I'll go for the lowest of the low on a person. So I kind of know where they're coming from because this is when I feel like they deserve it. And because I'm not trying to debate and all that shit, I'm trying to get this fight over with quick. So I'm gonna say what I know will trigger you or the lowest of the low, so I can get this shit over with. So I can understand that. But when people make a habit of doing that, going around the panel and doing that, that's not cool. No.
Yeah, I've learned.
You said you go around panels trolling and stuff. You don't do that, right?
Yeah. No, not at all. No. And I'm telling you this, and I'll tell you this, my friend. I'll tell you this with 1,000%. If I'm on a panel and we're having a conversation, I do not troll. I only go into troll mode when someone attacks me. It's reactionary. It's a reactionary.
Yeah.
You know, but like if you invite me up, or someone like CT invites me up, or you know, whatever, like, or I was on Gen X, when I was on Gen X, Jeffs, if we're having a good conversation, everything is gravy, bro. There's no problem. And when someone comes up, you touch kids, of course I'm gonna snap. You know, I'm gonna snap.
Yeah, but I think that's your fucking. Now, who am I to say? I don't know. I don't mean to overstep my boundaries, but maybe that's what your work is to be done in order to evolve, is to not get so triggered, because that's from Brian the Leo, like my best friend. Like his shit, he literally had to go to anger management, and like he had to push down work through his trigger and stuff like that, and that's part of my work too, because I'm really not trying to react, because I don't want to be seen as weak and stuff. And to me, sometimes when we react to everything somebody says, even if it's horrible, that's kind of shows some weakness in a sense. Yes, we want to defend our family, but like I said, who the fuck are you? Not you, Mike. Who the fuck are you to say I'm this and that? You're a nobody, bro.
Yeah.
You're lucky I'm even talking to you. Like,
it's funny because like, and the person that comes up is inconsequential moron, a half-wit, right? And then the person that he's accusing of is the one who brings thousands of people. Like I'll give you an example. Like I'm on a panel and it gets 9,000-10,000 views, and this person is calling me a PDF. That person should be in prison, because there's 10,000 people thinking that possibly that's true. It's not true. I am a proud father. Love my children.
Yeah, but you don't have to sell it. Yeah, we know that.
No. What I'm trying to say is this: is that person saying that should never be on the internet again. They should never even come on the internet again. You know, because these people are defaming your character.
Yeah, but it doesn't work like that, man. This YouTube is weird, bro. This is a guy that goes around and like calling me the N-word, hard R, and saying all this shit, shooting guns and all this shit. Yeah, he still has a channel. So it's like, what the fuck is going on here? We can talk about Conan 19. You know what I mean by that, right? The Conan 19. And like and that will get you like struck down or whatever. So this game's not a fair game. But it is what it is, man. And
Well, this person
got a comment from. Go ahead.
This person put my social security number online.
Oh yeah, that's fucked up.
So that's federal charge. That's federal charges.
Yeah, so, there's some weirdos, bro, out there, man. There's some despicable people out there. Divine Sparks. Go ahead. Unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm not a snitch. But I mean, if you're going to put my social online, you're going to face a charge. I'm not saying you, sir. I'm saying this person. You know, and it's really sad that someone would do that. You know, because that's my life.
Even if I did it, I wouldn't be surprised if you did report me.
No, it's already proven. It's already proven. You know, the thing is, like this guy is 23 years old and he puts someone's social online, which is a federal crime, because he got mad over a YouTube channel. Like, you literally just ruined your life over nothing. Like, it's unbelievable. These people don't realize that we're talking. Me and you are talking, right? Me and you would, if and it would be an act of nature if me and you met. We will never meet in real life. You're across the world, okay? But we're friends online. But I would never do that to you. I would never harm you, physically or financially, even if it's, let's say me and you got into a fight right now and we started arguing. I would say, you know what, bro, NPC, I'm out, bro. Take care, man. I'm out. And that's it. It would end there. It wouldn't go any further from that, but these people go to Discords and they put all of your information out, and these people are sick. They're sick people, bro. And I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you this straight up. I'm flipping my voice a little bit, going to my real voice. I'm telling you straight up. If someone came into my house, they wouldn't leave. If they came to harm me, if someone came to my house, if allegedly someone came to my house to harm me, they wouldn't leave. And that's the truth.
because the truth hurts like a bad tooth. I'm just telling you, they want to talk all this rah 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 online, but I'm telling you, when you stand in front of a real man like me or you, everything's changed. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I know what you mean. It does, and this is why I said like maybe we are the real. I said who's the real MVP of emotion? Maybe we are. Like I know people say you're a man, you can't show emotion. Nah, man. Sometimes the emotion comes out in rage, and you gotta act on it, man. You gotta act on it. And if someone did try to harm you in your house, whatever, I can understand that.
I'm telling you.
Let me get this comment from Divine. Hold on, respectfully. Excuse me, Mike. Sorry. Today, Divine Sparks says today I heard some guy said the internet doesn't give your kids access to the world. It gives the world access to your kids. Stay vigilant. It's off topic, but needed to say that. Well, it gives access to all these weirdos that we're talking about. We're trying to, never show weakness. Uncle Fatty says with a new avatar, never show weakness, always protect strength, never admit fault, never admit a loss, always project your wrongdoings on your opponent, enemies. So when you get caught, you're already normalized. It sounds like Machiavelli techniques.
You know,
look at this.
In listening to you. So are you in Taiwan? Is that where you're at?
Yeah, I'm in Taiwan, but I'm from California. Yeah.
Are you worried about anything going on right now? Because I know I'm trying to not trying to switch topics, but like I know there's a lot of hidden things going on with possibly any kind of military stuff going on. Are you worried?
Oh yeah, well yeah. Before I say that, I'll say this real quick. My Max, he told me this earlier. Horn Max, he said I've been sent over 700 pizzas, 70 pizzas, non-paid by stalkers. No joke. That's wild, bro. 70 pizzas. Damn. These people, they're obsessed, man. They don't know how to move on.
Sure.
And if they don't like you, but in terms of the
okay, sorry.
No, I was gonna say in terms of the
conflict.
In terms of the Taiwan shit, the Taiwan stuff, yes, it doesn't necessarily worry me, but it's definitely in the back of my mind, Mike, because at any moment China could technically invade Taiwan, or try to, and granted, it wouldn't be an easy takeover. To be very bloody on both sides, but it does worry me because I have my whole family, my livelihood, my house. This is my business. Everything is here right now, and where would I go? And so it does worry me. However, this has been something that's been going on since 1949 between China and Taiwan, the CCP in Taiwan, and it's just because of the media cycles are more amped up. We have that it's more all the coverage about it, so I can see why my friends in the West and my family are worried about me a little bit. But it's okay. It's business as usual, Mike. I don't think, in my opinion, that anything's gonna pop off in the next like 10 years at least. But I could be wrong. But but that's always something in my mind, though, Mike. You never know, man. They could come over here and try to take over. Yeah.
I could tell you this. So you know where I live, right? Do you know where I live?
You live in New York, I assume, or
Florida?
I live in
Virginia Beach. I live in Virginia Beach, Virginia.
Okay, East Coast, yeah. Okay.
So I'm right next to Oceana Military Base, and I'm also right a couple miles away from Norfolk Naval, which is the largest naval base.
We have some subs there.
United States. Oh yeah,
they have submarines,
aircraft carriers. Yeah. So Oceana is the F-18s, of course. Langley is the F-22s. There's F-35s over at. Well, the whole thing is that they've been flying nonstop, day and night.
Yeah.
So I can't even go outside because they're so loud. What I'm trying to say is this: if China tries to make a move, if China tries to make a move on Taiwan, trust me, America will back Taiwan. Will back Taiwan. And I'm telling you this: people want to talk about how strong China is. America would steamroll. Steamroll China. Steamroll.
Yes, sir.
Let me tell you something.
Yes,
what
sir.
I do is I'm a contractor. I'm a government contractor. Trust me, I know there's things that people don't know. There's weapons that people don't know America has. All I'm trying to tell you is this: if China wants to F around and find out, they will get obliterated. And America will not let Taiwan fall. And the biggest reason is Taiwan is one of our biggest allies in the area. They watch China. Also,
right.
with the chip, with the chip technology. We depend on Taiwan for the chips, you know, all the chip technology. All I'm telling you is this: if China wants to make that move, it's going to be bad for China. It's going to be bad. That's all I'm trying to say. So, you know, we'll see what happens. But all I'm trying to say is China is nothing more than a paper tiger. Yes, they have a lot of troops. Bro,
Yeah,
they have boats that sink. Like what do you like what? Like
what do you
all I'm
mean?
trying-
Wait, unpack that. You said boats that sink?
Yeah, they try to like put boats out and like aircraft carriers and they sink in port. You know, so what China does when it says made in China, when something says made in China, it's re-engineered from an American product. So they try to re-engineer stuff from America because, you know, we build things the right way. They're trying to build things the cheap way. China is only successful because everything they have is cheap. That's why if you buy a car from China, it'll last 3 years. You buy a Chevy, it lasts you 40 years. It's built differently. It's different.
Yeah.
All I'm trying to tell you is this, man. Listen, yes, people will pass. If China does flex, people can pass. But America will step in and they will have Taiwan's back. Anyone that says that Trump will not step in to punch China in the face is out of their mind. Because Trump is just waiting. Trump is chomping at the bit for China to make that move. And China, if you're hearing me right now, you will get the ass whooping of your life from the USA. The ass whooping of your life.
So they make sure they heard that. Say it again, bro.
If China messes with Taiwan, they'll get the ass whooping of their life. And that's the truth. The truth hurts like a bad tooth. I'm just telling you, don't mess with America. America is so much stronger than people think we are. Bro, we have weapons. We have weapons that you can't even believe that we have.
Mm-hmm.
We have particle weapons. We have laser weapons. We have weapons in space. We have planes that you have never seen before. We have stealth helicopters. We have stealth tanks. Like literally, China, back down, bro. Take a seat. Take a seat.
You heard it, China. You heard it, China. China, they tried to get rid of everybody listening to you when you got serious. Because it's true, man. I appreciate you saying that, man.
Yeah.
See, that's your Leo. That's your Leo protective. This coming out right there, and Cancer too with the shell. Because you're like, because I'm the homie, and you're like, don't worry, NPC, it's all good. And I feel you, and I've already thought that because technically the U.S. cannot say it would help Taiwan, but we all know, like you said. And you have proof right there with all the activity going on right there that
NPC,
they would. They have to. They have to. Yeah.
And NPC, if you study my diction, you see I go up and then I go back down, then I go up and I go back down. It's the Leo, the Cancer, the Leo, the Cancer. It's in other words, it's attack, relax, attack, relax. And you know, but the whole thing is this, you know, I do believe, I honest to gosh believe, I'm not gonna curse, that I think that if China makes a move, they're gonna regret it. They're gonna regret it, and that's just what I choose to believe. I could be wrong. I could be right. It's just my opinion.
No, I believe I know what you mean too. I believe you. In the end, they're not gonna win. They are a paper tiger.
You got Australia right by you, right? Isn't Australia not too far away?
Yeah. Shout out to Lady Luck over there. Australia's very close to their Navy, right? We also have Japan to help. Philippines most likely, Korea, South Korea, yeah, we got all the homies here. Yeah, the thing is though, Mike, the only thing is like on a personal, selfish level, even though the U.S. would make him a piss mop, as Cormaxer would say, make CCP a piss mop, bro. Yeah, us on the front line here, we got to be careful because we might get some missile attacks before that happens and stuff like that. So. We got to be mindful of that.
Well, you also have South Korea. South Korea is excellent, but they have long range missiles. Right. But I think there's a lot of talks. There's a lot of talks about. Sorry, I flip into my real voice. This is actually my real voice. This is actually how I really talk. I have two different. Yeah, it's actually how I really talk. But it's a lot of talk about President Trump reversing the whole thing where where Japan can't be a nuclear power because after World War II, you know, they couldn't have an army. They could only have a defense force, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, there's a lot of talk about letting Japan be a nuclear power, which we would, and I think that would be a great thing because I think Japan is one of our best allies in the area. So if Japan was a nuclear power, I think that would really deter China from trying to F around and find out. What do you think?
No, absolutely. That's another a player on the game board right there. Yeah, keep him in check. Definitely. The sad thing about it is nobody wins a nuclear war. But the whole thing about these nuclear weapons is not necessarily about people firing, it's a deterrent. So they don't fire. This is why, yeah.
Yeah, it's a deterrence. You know, it's like, you know, in other words, you know, it's mutual, what's it, mutual destruction, or what's it called, mutual combat or something like that, where if somebody was to fire, you have to fire back.
Yeah.
So it's like mutual destruction. Yeah, but I mean, I think Japan is earned our trust over the last 50, 60 years. That I think
for
that
sure.
they deserve to have it. They deserve to have it. And they're
Plus
some
they
of the
have
smartest
bad
people.
blood with China already.
Yeah.
Over the years, yeah. So
there's some of the smartest people in the world.
For sure. They make everything, they think to make everything better. You can probably find the best pizza outside of Italy or New York in Japan. That's like they take everything and they make it better. Yeah.
Look at everything made in China, right? It's crap, right? It falls apart.
Most of it is.
Look at everything.
There's some things that are okay.
Made in Japan. Everything made in Japan lasts forever. Look at a Toyota. You can drive it for 50 years.
Bro, those are the cars we see in Sudan during the Revolutionary Wars with the gun turret. Toyota Tacoma. You seen it, right? The Toyota just whipping around the war zones and stuff.
I sold cars for 6 years, and I worked for a Toyota dealership. Toyota. And dude, I sold so many cars, bro. It's insane. Bro, the car sells itself. It's so
I had
good.
a Camry XLE back in the day. I love that car.
Yeah, I had a Camry demo. Yeah, I had a Camry demo, and then the next year I was able to win Salesman of the Year, so I got a Tacoma demo. Yo, the Tacoma is oh my god, the Tacoma is awesome, bro.
Never gonna die.
A V6 SRT. The Tacoma is such a good truck. It really is. It really is. Yeah. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back.
Yeah. Well, in the meantime, man, like Max is going to war with the ladies out there. He says, NBC, why are Markella and Snow such bitter and unfun women? It's like those two old broads NPCs has rigor mortis already. I would assume though, maybe it's just like they're not getting all fired up with you, you know, which I don't understand because I mean you're the man, Max. But I guess it's like that thing when people go like people have said to me like my wife doesn't, you know, she doesn't have that, she's not attracted to me anymore, or you know, she does that Starfix shit. I said, well, maybe it's not her. They say, oh, she's asexual. No, maybe it's you. She doesn't like you, what you're doing for her. But Hormaxer, you got hella women on your team, man. You don't need them.
I think you don't need them. When it comes to relationships, man, when a woman kind of stops being attractive to you, when she stops being attracted to you, I think that she got with you in the first place under false pretenses. Because
I think so.
Because NPC,
he never was there, right?
Exactly. So, all right. So my ex-wife, you know, yes, she got with me. I had a lot of money. You know, she was gorgeous. I was a very attractive guy when I was in my 20s. Yes, and we kind of fell out of love with each other. But was it love or was it success and money? But the girl before her, I was with for 6 years, and we never stopped loving each other. When she was heavy, I would, you know, it was a love 24/7. And the only reason I left her for the hot Pisces, which is my ex-wife.
Yeah. What was this lady? The 6-year relationship, the pure love. What was her sign?
Blonde hair. She was a water sign.
Okay. Maybe Cancer.
Water sign. Yeah, she was a Cancer.
Yeah. What's up, Bex?
Yeah, she was a Cancer, and she was the most loving, caring. And I'm telling you this, I came from New York, right? I grew up in Queens, so I'm straight Sicilian from New York, right? And she is blonde hair, blue eyes, gorgeous Southern girl from Virginia.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Under the Southern Belle. Look at she's so hot that he glitched out on his connection. He wants the sugar walls. Max Extreme wants the sugar walls.
Yeah.
She's so hot, your ex, that like it's so cute that you glitched out, Mike.
Yeah,
like,
no problem. So yeah, so we were together for almost 6 years, right? And blonde hair, blue eyes, Southern girl, from Virginia. And the one thing is that she was so innocent. And I'm in my mid-20s, and then I meet this girl, my ex-wife, who is Filipino and Puerto Rican, and she's like all like, she's like J-Lo,
she's fired up.
You get enticed, and then me and my ex broke up, and but this is the rub, okay? So me and my ex-wife, we have a son together, my son, Nicholas. If I didn't leave Jen, my ex, I wouldn't have Nicholas. So I wouldn't have him, which is the love of my life. You know what I'm saying? But looking back, I wish I would have stayed with Jen. But this is the thing.
You fucking sacrificed. You did a sacrifice, bro, for your son.
But Jen can't have kids. She's unable to have kids. So is that God's will?
Absolutely, I think everything is. So yeah.
So when I left Jen for my ex-wife, me and her kept going back and forth and trying to figure out, am I going to stay with my ex? Am I going to go back to Jen? It was turmoil, right? But then within a few months,
Jenny from the block, somebody said.
Oh yeah, within a few months. Oh God, bro, my ex. NPC, my ex, fire, bro. I could show you a picture of me in my 20s, bro. I was a handsome dude in my 20s, handsome, bro, and she was fire, bro. Yeah. But the thing is that it was more lust than love, and that's the problem. But once my son was born, I fell in love with the family, parameter, But it's hard, man. It's really hard, but. I look back and like I said, not to repeat myself, I look back and say, I should have stayed with Jen, right? I should have stayed with her, but if I didn't be with my ex, then I wouldn't have my son. The whole
I would say no. I would say you got your son. That was the most important, even though you love you love your ex.
That's it.
Yeah. It sucks what happened, but like you got him, man. That was the number one thing.
And we're talking about something that happened 26 years ago. That's how long ago this was. People on this panel aren't even 26. This is talking about something 26 years ago. I was like 23 years old. But the whole thing is this: anybody listening, everything in life happens for a reason. And we always second guess like our decisions. But I think I could be wrong. Everything is predetermined before we're born. I think our life path is already predetermined. Now, can we?
And the Muslims say it is written. That's what they say. It is written.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
I'm a Roman Catholic, so I wrestle with a lot of my own beliefs. I don't believe in confession, even though I'm a Catholic. I don't believe in confession. I don't believe you can go out and you can K-word 6 people and say, "Hey, Father, my bad. I'm sorry about that."
That sounds kind of weird, huh?
Yeah, I don't believe that's true. So I wrestle with my own. Faith.
Yeah, I have that sacrament of reconciliation because I'm a Catholic.
Yeah, I'm wearing a rosary right now. I'm wearing my rosary right now. Yeah. Like I wear it every single day. But I mean the whole thing is
you're talking to Gabriel. That's my name. Remember I told you Gabriel and Michael, we got it on lock.
Yeah, I'm named Michael. I'm named Michael for a reason. I'm a defender of people. Dude, I will if I see anybody in pain, anybody in distress, I will jump in. Even if it means me going to jail, Mike. I'll jump in because that is me. you know, and I'm older. I'm an older guy now. So like
What's up, Arctic?
I'm more reserved, but brother, when in my 20s, 6'3", 245 pounds, bro, I was something to be reckoned with. Something to be reckoned
You still
with.
could
Like,
be, bro. Let's mog out. You still need to go to the gym and all that.
Yeah.
You still do,
Did I show you? Did I show you a picture of me when I was younger? You want to see a picture?
Yeah, you
when I
showed
was
me
younger?
already. You already showed me, man. We've been there.
Dude,
Plus,
dude,
I'll
my
take your word
arms,
from it.
my arms are the size of people's legs. That's how big I was, and I was also an officer. So like the whole thing is that, you know,
Here's a picture when I
you
was
have to
young.
wrestle. You have to wrestle with things. Yeah, look at that. Look at that guy. Yeah.
But no, I'm sure you were, bro. You're Leo, man. You very people say vain or whatever, but no, we want to look good, man. There's nothing.
Yeah.
Aesthetics are great. Aesthetics is what's beautiful is what's true. The real truth. True beauty is is great.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
I know under the Leo lit, man, you gotta look good. Right?
I wrestle between going back to astrology. I wrestle with my own morality. I wrestle with the Cancer. The Cancer and the Leo, they wrestle every day. If that makes sense to you, they're always fighting each other. So
yeah, maybe we can make that a dance.
You should
wrestle.
Yeah, we should.
Somebody
we should
has a question
on,
for you, Mike. They said V1111 said, do you believe in gematria? They asked that earlier.
Gematria. Okay, so so gematria. Do I believe in that? No, I don't. Do I believe gematria is a study of numbers that correlate after the fact? After the fact. But the issue is, do I believe in psychics? That people that are clairvoyant? I believe there are certain people that can predict things. I do believe that. Now, is it evil or is it good? Any human being who can predict events, I think, is black magic. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I don't get into that when people say like astrology, because I'm not trying to predict anything. I'm just forecasting what could happen. Right? Only the Most High God knows what's up. And maybe if you co-created your reality before you got here and written it up with God, co-created. Yeah, maybe you do to a certain extent, but like people cannot tell you what's exactly gonna happen, tomorrow or whatever. I don't believe that. I don't believe that.
So what I believe astrology is, MPC, astrology is just basically figuring out your personality traits. You're born under a certain moon, so that's the personality traits that you have. It's just your personality. Yeah. It doesn't mean that you can predict an earthquake or something like that. Anybody who can predict future events, I believe is black magic. That's just what I believe. I don't believe a psychic is from God, because God wants you to figure things out on your own, right? But the devil will give you tidbits to gain your favor, and that's my opinion.
Well, even in what you just said, you said you believe it's black magic. You necessarily didn't say it doesn't work. You were saying that it's black magic, and when you say that, normally you want to stay away from something like that, unless you're like unless somebody's pushing for.
I love it.
Like risky behavior and shit.
I love that comment. So dreams can be predictions. So I'm going to tell you this. Now, when I got very spiritual, I was having a lot of dreams that were like deja vu. I would dream something, and then it would happen a couple days later. So is that natural or unnatural? You're not supposed to know what's going to happen ahead of time, because I'll tell you why. Because if you know what's going to happen, you can't use your own judgment to dictate that decision in that personal, situation.
You don't know what's going to happen, but under the Neville Goddard lit, you can, like he suggests before you go to bed, plan out your day the way you want it to go the next day. And then so that means that you're kind of programming yourself to set up the circumstances for the way it may play out. It's not saying it will exactly happen like that, but you could give your imagination context in order to make that happen. I got a comment from Max. What did he say? He asked me a question. NBC. Oh, he said, I don't know. I don't know. He said, how big do you think Marcel's ass has gotten in the last 5 years? No disrespect to her husband, but however big it is, I'm sure it's beautiful. You know, big or small it is. I don't know, man. Yeah. I know you want to see, huh, Max?
One of the biggest things in life is the greatest thing is ignorance is bliss. Ignorance is bliss. What basically that means is that, you know, keep blinders on. Like, in other words, when a horse races, they have blinders on. They're not seeing the horses.
Right.
Everyone listen, they don't see the horses next to them. They're only running to one goal, to win. But the problem is that when you turn your head and you start looking at everyone else, you get derailed.
Distractions.
You get derailed, you know?
Yeah.
Do I think that people do have psychic ability? Do I think, because yes, I do believe that, but I don't think it comes from a godly place. I think it comes from an evil place. That's just my opinion, like witchcraft and stuff like that. People talk, oh, I'm a Wiccan, I'm a witch. Well, that's not from God. That's something different. You know, that's a different entity.
Mm-hmm.
And if that's what they want, go for it. But you're going to have to pay for it later. I'm just saying, you know, that's
I
my
think
belief.
that if you're a Christian or even is Christian, Islam, and Judaism, they all believe in a day of judgment. That is something that they all have in commonality, right? And I think even if you don't believe in any of those things, we all have our own personal apocalypse and judgment when we quote unquote die. If you're a transhumanist, you can call it your own personal singularity. You're gonna have to answer for things. Whatever you want to call it.
NPC, did you say that you're Catholic? Is that what you said?
Yeah, I was raised Catholic, but I mean, I love comparative religions and stuff like that. But if I had to say, I would say I'm a Catholic.
Yeah. I'm baptized Roman Catholic when I was a child. You know, little child baptized Roman Catholic. NPC,
went to high school. I went to the Jesuit high school and everything.
Me too. I went to Catholic high school for 2 years. I played basketball there. But the whole thing is that my son, who wrestled, and real quick, he wrestled with, faith, right? He never he never said he didn't love God or didn't know God existed. My son, about 6 months ago, went and got confirmed as a Roman Catholic. He's confirmed.
Okay.
He went, got baptized, everything.
It means more when you're older when you do it than like us when we were like whatchamacallit. We were forced to by our parents, in a sense. Yeah.
He's like a different person. He's like, as in he's so much more loving. But the problem is this is the problem. He was living with a girl and he had to break up with her because he can't be with her, be with her as in, be with her unless they're married.
Right.
So in other words, if they get married, then they will be together. But my son has such a strong belief, like my father and my mother, they're both baptized. They were married before I was born. They were married, born out of marriage. But if you're a staunch Catholic, you can't live with somebody if you're a real Catholic if you're not married.
No, yeah, for sure. I was just watching Boys in the Hood with my wife yesterday, and surprisingly enough, that exact dynamic was in the main characters. Like Nia Long, who played Cuba Gooding Jr.'s girlfriend, she was a Catholic girl going to Catholic school. Even though they're black, we got all kinds of Catholics,
Sure.
Like they were like, she was like, I can't have sex with you, man. I'm a Catholic. And he was like, Catholic girls are supposed to be the most freakiest. Yes, but that is one of the main tenets. When you're not, Catholic, when you're not married, you're not supposed to have sex. Yeah.
So
what's up, Denison?
NPC, when I met my ex-wife, right? She's Catholic as well. When I met my ex-wife, we were madly into each other, right? But she was still married at the time, right? So I could not live with her or be with her till she got divorced. And then once she got divorced, then we started our life together, because then she was broke away from, all ties. Yeah. So yes, the Catholics do have a lot of, and people, the biggest problem with Catholics is that, they want to always lambast us about things that happened in the past. The funny thing is Catholics are the most loving, but the most vicious. People don't realize that, like Knights Templar and all these the Crusades, like Catholics are warriors. We fight.
Well, I mean, look at this. Even in the chat, V1111, he's like, ouch, the Jesuits. That's why I let people know in these spaces that, like, yeah, I went to Jesuit high school, and I'm not evil because of that, man. I mean, the Jesuits, yeah, I mean, they did, like you said, there was a past and all that. But some of the stuff that the Jesuits came up with are some of the tenets of some of this new age thinking that a lot of people are into nowadays. Those were Jesuits that came up with a lot of those things, like Pierre Chardin and a lot of these other guys, man. So it's like, bro, they're people too, so
and
ain't nothing spooky about it.
And it's funny because when you trace back, like we trace back our family lineage, like being
shout
I'm
out
a
to
Sicilian.
TBD.
I'm a Sicilian, so Sicilians have, if you're Sicilian, you're Catholic no matter what. I mean, you have no choice, yeah. But the whole thing is that, we trace it back to like the Knights Templar and all these other things, and it's just like, we are warriors for the Catholic Church, but the whole thing is that, like, the Catholic Church, has there been bad things in the past? Yeah, but when I go to mass,
absolutely,
and if I
priests rape people,
bro, if I go to the food bank or if I go to outreach, the Catholic Church is the most giving organization in the world. In the world.
Yeah, they're up there for sure. Yeah, there's other ones, but the Catholics there, they like to. There's some good Catholics out there for sure.
There are.
Yeah.
Dude, we will fight, bro. We will fight. And a Catholic Leo is the most dangerous thing in the world. I'm telling you, if a Leo has Catholic faith behind him, he's a knight. He's a knight.
Right.
He's a
you
knight.
hit that up with he's a knight. That's like Michael, the archangel. Look at Divine Spark. I like this one. I'm a freaky Catholic Pisces, according to today's show. We'll take that. I mean, everyone has their role, right? Everyone has their role.
There you go.
Look at this. Look at Flo said. He said literally the Catholics are the only organization that has a freaking country.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Vatican, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Some agents, Jesuit online agents, Templars. Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. What does Jesuit mean? What do they sign their name? Society of Jesus, SJ, right?
Yeah.
And all the Jesuits I know, they were either like super feminine or they were like into like knowledge and teaching and stuff. So the ones I know growing up in San Jose, they were fucking they're just normal and shit, bro.
It's funny because it's funny because the Romans were the most vicious. They were the most vicious soldiers, but they followed the Catholic Church. So it's kind of like a paradigm. Okay, I'm following God, but I'm also beheading people. So it's just remember, it's a different,
hypocritical kind of.
It's an animalistic time. It's not the same. But I can tell you this. With no doubt. Sicilians in particular, my people, dude, we can get down. We can fight, and we will fight tooth and nail. But we fight for the Catholic Church. We are so Catholic, it's ridiculous.
What do you think about this though? Because I had people in my class, in my elementary, junior high, that were molested by priests in our parish. I think that's fucked up, bro. Like, and then you know what happened? The principal and the administration, they just sent that priest to another school, and they probably didn't even tell the parish that they were sending him what was going on. That shit is not. I don't co-sign on that shit at all.
No doubt, no doubt.
Catholic need to work. The church needs to work on that.
I've never had any kind of interaction like that ever. If I did, I would say it, but I've never had any kind of weirdness with any priest. But I think the biggest
I haven't, but I've had classmates that have, and that's
sure.
That's messed up, man.
I think that I think the Catholic Church should curtail the whole celibacy. I think a man should have a mate, should have someone to, because I think possibly, allegedly, when you're repressed for so long and you're only around certain kinds of people, I think maybe you get a perversion in your mind. It's possible.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Dennis, do you have any comments about the church? Were you a Catholic? Growing up?
Culturally.
Culturally, yeah. Any thoughts about what we've been talking about? Water signs and religion, or
No, I'm just listening. This stuff's kind of out of my area of interest and knowledge.
Okay.
What's a Jesuit?
It's just a branch of a brotherhood of priests, a section, just like they have Franciscan monks. There's also there's the Jesuits, who are they're priests, a group of priests. They're Catholic priests, but it's like they're set, I guess. Like there's crypts, and then there's different types of crypts. The Jesuits would be a set of a sect of a priest under the Vatican. Yeah. Usually they were like, a lot of times they have a history of being like the rebel rousers of the church, kind of like pushing the boundaries in terms of intellectually and spiritually, in terms of like getting like
based.
Yeah, they are pretty based, actually, integrating like other cultures and spiritual faiths, and trying to see what the commonality is with Catholicism. So that's why I think Jesuits were kind of cool, and also why they get a bad rap too, because of their willingness to work with other cultures and organizations. There's opportunities for nefarious behavior as well, probably. So yeah. Was the Powder Dusty has a comment? He said about celibacy. I think the only people celibacy would apply to are ones who already have a perversion or are running from it.
Have you tried it?
What?
Celibacy?
Perversion? Have I tried it? Yeah. I mean, that sounds bad. Like involuntary at times. Yeah, but voluntary as well too, I guess.
Sure.
Yeah.
So when I go to
pervert then.
So when I go to mass, if I go to mass,
Scorpio.
If I go to mass and if I talk to the Father, I'll talk to him about like life stuff, or like where I'm heading in life. But I never talked to him about relationships. So I can't talk to a 50-year-old.
Yeah, that's kind of weird, huh?
Yeah. I can't talk to a 50-year-old virgin about my marriage. So in other words, I curtail what I speak to him about.
Hey, but wait, stop there real quick. But think about that though. Even though, he has no experience, you never know. He might have insight. Just like I've gotten some insight from, as a father, from people on the, that aren't men who don't have kids, by just listening to their opinion about, what they would do or what they think about certain situation about parenting. Now, get me wrong, some of them are fucked up what they said, but other ones were like, okay, this is actually kind of interesting. And if I would have wrote them off because they don't have any kids or not married, I would have missed out. But I can understand why you will feel weird talking to a priest about that.
Sure. When I was separating from my ex, I actually talked to my neighbor, actually across the street. He was across the street. I was like, "Hey man, you got to," because we were mad close, right? Mad close, and he's an older guy. And I'm telling him what's going on. He looks at me, right? He goes, "You sleeping in the same bed?" I'm like, "No." "Stop being a bitch. Just leave the hoe." That's
the priest said that?
I swear to God.
Oh hell no. Was he black?
And I'm like, because he's an old head. He's an old head. He's like,
okay.
I'm like, yeah. I'm like, hey man, I was like, yeah, we're having problems, blah blah blah. We sleep in separate rooms. He's like, you ain't sleeping in the same bed? I'm like, nah, man. Then leave the bitch. I'm like, damn.
It's good advice, I guess.
But that's what you need. You need real world advice from someone who's been there and done that. Not some dude in a collar that's never had sex in his life. You need that dude across the street to say, man, fuck that bitch.
I think
that's what you need.
You know what, Mike? I think this is why there's so many ortho bros people like that is because it's very much like Catholicism.
Yeah.
But one of the differences is like they can have families, right?
That's
The
it.
priest can
That's
have
it.
a family, right? Flo State, look at what he said right here. He said, I did one time I did a school retreat, but when I mentioned to the priest I wasn't a Catholic, he kicked me out. That's not right. Because Catholic school, there's many people that aren't Catholic that go there. You know?
Let me tell you something, man. Nobody can give you relationship advice if they've never been in a relationship. Come on, because they have no basis. You can read all the books you want. If you don't have real world experience, you shouldn't be giving anyone advice. Does that make sense?
Well, I would say you should be leery about what they say. Anybody can give advice technically. Now, is it helpful? Is it warrant? You know, that's the thing.
External criticism is valid.
External criticism, that's different than advice, huh?
Well, external advice. I'm assuming that we're talking about the kind of advice when you're having a problem. So you're looking for somebody to give you a solution or an answer or perspective.
Right. Yeah, and I think though I've taught certain people have a higher I'm gonna prioritize what they say than someone else off the top. However, it doesn't mean even though I have a prejudging them by saying he might not have as good advice as my married friend. That non-married person could actually give me better advice. So yeah,
right.
You can take in all the data streams, right? And then do with it what you will. Yeah. But Mike, you're saying you don't have time to listen to people that really doesn't have experience is important to you. You're saying
no, it's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying I would rather take advice from someone who's actually had real world experiences versus someone that's just reading a book or a manual trying to give you advice. I'd rather hear someone that actually been there and done that. You know?
Yeah.
I don't know if that crosses over as well into a priest giving you advice about your marriage, but that in itself is pretty accurate. Real world experience teaches you way more real shit than the instruction manual does. The instruction manual is theoretical.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Absolutely.
But your priest, he may have been helping people with marriages for 30, 40 years. He may have
he has a lot of experience with that.
Yeah, he may have helped thousands of people with their marriages. Whereas the dude across the street might only have, girlfriends he doesn't even like. You never know.
You know what I found interesting? That, the big thing from the last 10 years about love languages. I know you guys have probably heard people talk about that. A lot of women, they're like, they swear by that. What's your love language and all that? I found out that was actually invented by a Protestant pastor from the South.
Correct.
And it was off his what Denison was saying, all his interaction with married couples over the years. And he came up with that system of the love language, which is funny because I hear a lot of quote unquote new agey people talk about it rather than like Baptists or, which I think he was a Baptist or something like that. So it's very surprising where you can get advice from, where people we end up getting advice from and whatnot. Love languages. I don't even know what my love language is.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Would you consider yourself a romantic? I mean, are you like a romantic guy? Like, in other words, do you like to surprise your wife with things for no reason? Like, cater to her? Are you that kind of guy?
I think ideally that's a great thing to do, and I think that's awesome. And however, I don't do it. I don't do that type of thing. My more thing is, I guess, is like this showing up, being there, and saying I love her, and showing her with affection. I'm more of a talker when it comes to that. But I think my wife even said that before. She's like, little surprises are nice, because she does that for me. Out of nowhere, she'll just give me like a little gift or something, or But I don't know. Are you like that, Mike? Do you like romantic, or are you more?
Yeah, super
like
romantic, bro. That's the Italian in me. Like, just like, she comes home and dinner's
Roman?
cooked, and can I rub your feet? It's just, and it's not like, that's nothing like weird. It's just like, I want to cater to you because I generally cherish you, and a woman eats that up. And it's nothing crazy. You're not buying them a Lexus. It's just little things
The
that,
little things that add up.
yeah, little things that really stand out to a woman to make her feel really, really appreciated.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Oh, yeah, actually,
maybe,
you know what I used to do? I used to buy a lot of flowers when I lived in the States for my partners, like girlfriends or wife, whatever, buying them flowers. And yeah, I would rub the feet and all that. So that's part of
did
it.
that
Yeah.
Flowers. I've never heard of that before.
every year.
No candy though.
Every year for Valentine and stuff. All the years we're together, like we were getting to like 9-10 years and getting like 10 dozen roses. It's like, whoa, it's expensive.
Damn,
bro.
man.
It's like $300, back
especially
then.
during Valentine's Day where they raise the price.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It was. I mean, and then they're gonna die anyway. It's just.
Yeah.
It's just showing that you really care. But the thing is, I would always buy her jewelry. She had so much jewelry, and she'd like, stop buying me stuff. But it's just like, it's one of those things where you just do it to do it, But the whole thing is that you have to keep it lively because after, I would say probably after 6, 7, 8 years, stuff starts to get mundane. So you have to always keep it lively with your partner.
Yeah, I was with my ex-girlfriend for 9 years, and then my wife for almost 12 years now.
Yeah, you got to keep it lively. You have to keep it lively. You have to have date night. You have to figure out something fun to do. Go on vacation. The biggest problem with me and my ex is that we had 4 kids. She had 3 from her previous marriage, and we had our son. So if we have 4 children, so it's hard for us just to go on vacation. So it was difficult for us to get away for more than a day or two. So it's hard for us to go for 2 weeks on a cruise. Now we did go on a cruise for a week one time. Bro, it was amazing. We went all over the Caribbean. It was great.
With the kids too? Yeah.
No, the kids were not. The kids were taken care of by the aunt. But it was difficult to pull that off. To ask someone to, watch kids. And that was 3 kids, but that's before my son was born. That was in 99, right about 2000. The thing is that, it's hard to have someone watch 3 kids for 2 weeks. It's difficult.
It's hard enough when I have 3 dogs. I gotta, whenever we go on vacation, I gotta take them somewhere. Those are dogs. My 4-legged babies.
It was one of the best memories of my life. I mean, it was just we're all over the Caribbean. I mean, we're just having fun.
No, that sounds like fun. I think for me, like the best trip I ever had recently, it was when I went back to America in 2018 with my son, my young son, and my wife. That was fun. But go ahead. You said you were dancing on the ship and all that stuff.
Yeah, dancing and it's funny because like we were like a really attractive young couple, and then like I was able to talk to one of the stewards on the ship, and we actually got to sit at the captain's table where the captain sits and all the and we're just sitting there and we're just hanging out, and it's just like, it was just cool. Like we felt like VIPs, on the ship, and it was cool, man. It was just like a great time, and we escaped reality for a while, but it's funny because the entire time, twice a day, she had to call to check on the kids, like twice a day. It's just fine. Even though we're on vacation, when you're a parent, you never stop being a parent. That's the whole paradigm. Yeah.
That's how it is.
And it was it wasn't 2 weeks. It was 10 days. It was 10 days. That's what it was. It was 10-day cruise. But man, it was unbelievable. But the whole time, I got to call the kids. This is, I'm like, they're fine. They're fine. Relax. They're fine. So but it's funny when you're a parent, you're never really on vacation unless the kids are there. And if the kids are there, you can't act a fool, if you know what I mean. You can't get dirty. No. You got to be a parent. You know what I'm trying to say? You got to be a parent.
Right. Dude, I never gone on vacation without my son's been with me for the last 7 years. Like, the only time he's not with me is if my wife has to go to some family function up north and I have to work.
It was wild.
Like, we never have any time like that.
Yo, it was.
Check this out.
Wild.
I bet you what. That sounds like fun. Here's the love languages. There's the words of of affirmation. That's something that my mom, who was a Cancer, drilled into me. She was, I love you, I love you. So I always say that a lot. Quality time, spending time, acts of service. That's like rubbing the feet, like you were saying. Receiving gifts, going on a nice trip, flowers, physical touch, right? Yeah, nonverbal cues, making physical, touches, holding hands, caressing, all that shit. Yeah. I think the goal is to do all those things a little bit, right? Yeah, like switch it up and stuff. But
yeah.
Okay, she said a 3-hour tour, Gilligan's Island. Remember that show, Dennis?
Yeah.
Gilligan's Island. Yeah. So I don't know, man.
You don't know, man.
I don't know, man. Yeah, I think I'm already pooped out. Probably if I didn't have to go to teach, I probably would keep building with you guys. But this has been great. Remember what
it was a pleasure.
What we said? Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for coming up, Mike, and keeping it on target, and Dennis, and keeping it on target. Because I'm not gonna try to fuck around and do some fuckery on other panels today. I'm gonna keep this modality, this vibration with me for the rest of the day. Thanks for coming up, guys.
End on a good note, end on a positive note. Like I said, when I come on your panel, I'm actually toned down. You see me on other panels, I can turn it up, and Dennison knows I can get heightened.
Well, you turned it up on Dennison before on this panel. He turned up on you a little bit on this panel. Yeah. So I've seen it.
I get it.
I've seen it.
If you ever see me on CTs, it's insane. Like, I snap on people. But the whole thing is that, it's not always healthy to do that, So it's always good to come up and talk to a couple friends and just be chill and just have a good conversation. I think the astrology aspect, was very interesting. And I appreciate you having me up and talking about it. I appreciate it.
Hey, man, I appreciate you.
Right. I wish you nothing but the best, Dennison. Wish you nothing but the best. So, gentlemen, I bid you adieu. Have a great night. Get some rest, and I'll see you again.
Yeah. All right, that's our resident Leo, King Michael. We'll see you later, brother.
I'll see you later. Roar.
Wow. Look at that from South Park. I won't say the other part of it. Look at, there's a lion. Wow. Remember that, Tennyson?
I don't even know what to think about all that.
Well, this, I don't know if you caught it earlier, but the point of this was the water sign showdown, and depending if you don't have a water, if you're not like a sun sign or moon sign, it doesn't matter, because you got all these energies in your chart somewhere, right? And definitely if you're trying to tap into your inner Scorpio, I would say work on setting boundaries. The Scorpio chamber can help you with that. And if you're trying to heal family wounds, that could be what, under the Cancer lit. Cancer's, it's all family. And then now if you want to get into your artist lit, aka Divine Spark 313, the naughty Catholic girl, freaky Catholic girl, under the Pisces lit, creating art and also forgiving someone. They're actually usually they're good at forgiving people. What's the ultimate forgiving is forgiving yourself too, right? And if you're a water sign, own it. You're not too sensitive. You're just more in tune than most. But if you do need to learn how to master your emotions, have that in mind, man, when you're out and about.
You're talking to the chat, right? Because I have no idea what you just said.
Talking to you,
now I know how
to the chat. I'm talking to Ben.
Now I know how people feel when they're in algebra class.
Yeah.
Except to me, it's oh yeah.
Well, that's why you get a good grade, even though you don't know what we're talking about. Just like the algebra teacher, as long as you don't cause chaos, you'll get that B. You'll get that B.
Man.
Yeah.
It's that easy to get a B?
Oh yeah, especially when the rest of the class is acting like fools. Not Mike, I'm saying, but like in general. You never were in that class where kids were like just acting a fool, and the old teacher just had it. They're like, they didn't say this, but just because I didn't cause trouble, you get that B, even though I don't know what the hell he's talking about.
Oh, actually, I think, well, the first half of your description, I think I can recall. There's a very awkward looking and acting ex-professor, who taught English class at my school, and none of the kids respected him, so there were a lot of outbursts and disruptions during his class that didn't exist in any other class. But he did not give out B's.
Yeah,
I think I might have got a D in his class.
The English? That's the English teacher, man.
Yeah,
English can have a stick up their ass sometimes. Yeah, I'm an English teacher though.
After that, I just changed my grade.
Yeah.
To a C.
You just changed it? Your parents didn't know?
No, I logged into the computers and changed it.
Oh, you did it like that, old school.
And once I figured out how to do that, I did that in the next school as well, in high school. Except in high school, I started charging people to change their grades.
Oh, man. You're that guy, huh?
I don't know.
That's smart.
I mean, that school stored their passwords in plain text. I mean, it's almost not even... It's like they're asking me to log in and change it.
Did you go overboard, though? Like, totally up to straight A's for yourself? Or did you, be more realistic? Okay.
I changed a D to a C.
Okay.
Passing.
Yeah. You weren't greedy with it. I like that. Yeah, Arctic Timberwolf said, "Oh yeah, by the way, that's cool how your great-great-grandfather had a flower shop. Very, very cool." I just read my high school class. We read a story about this Japanese dude that owned a flower shop in San Leandro, California, which is like right by Oakland. That was an interesting story. She said, "I failed English in college. I think the teacher didn't like me, so I took it again the next semester."
Can you highlight
wedding flower? Wedding flowers. Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead.
What the hell is he talking about?
Oh, he's talking about numerology. Numerology.
We talk about this shit in the trading chat all the time, and I deliberately read it because I like the guy and I think he's intelligent. I just have no idea. It's like I need a translation or something.
Yeah. So it says, funny you talk about chaos. Today was 5/11 day. Quite chaotic indeed in the markets. I love that environment. 5/11. I don't. Well, he probably has the more pure definition of what the 5 and 11 means. But if I remember correctly, 5 is, to me, 5 is empowerment, but it also can be a chaotic number. Sex. 11 is transition. So
why is today a 5/11 day?
Good question. Look, Patrick Bateman, do you got that? Why is today? What makes today a 5 and then an 11 day /11 day? This reminds me, I'm gonna have to talk to you about setting something up in the next week or so. Look within, so we can definitely get a 101 on the numerology here on the NPC Live. Yeah,
I have to be like retarded in some way to this information because.
Here we go. Here we go. The 5th day of the month. Yes, right. June 5th. And the month is the 6th month of the year. So 5 plus 6 is 1. Wait, 5 plus 6 is 11. Yeah.
Why wouldn't it be a 6th day? Why isn't it a 6th day? A 5/6 day?
That's the thing with these things. Like, in my opinion, with the numerology, you can take meaning of everything. It could be, if that's the point you're trying to make,
God damn it.
Yeah.
That's
a good question, though.
I think what's happened is when I was young, I came across these ideas, I studied them, and I determined that they were totally bullshit. and it's like a frame of mind almost that you have to be in order to like be programmed by this kind of information. And over the years, I've become stupid, like retarded to it. I couldn't fathom it if I tried.
Yeah, and I don't think you're necessarily being a dick in the sense when you say like I don't get it, because some people will say that and they'll mean like they're not even trying to. I think you're actually trying to get it, but it's not computing. Right?
Oh yeah, because
it's not computing. Yeah.
Like I said, he's in my trading group. He's like the most active member.
Yeah.
And it's all about making money and helping each other reach each other's goals, financially and otherwise. It's a positive, mostly male space. And then that's what it's about. So if it can make me money, I'm all about it. I want to know. Shit.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You don't care if it's like throwing sticks in the air and how they land, right?
Exactly.
Making money. Yeah.
Exactly. If it has reproducible results, I don't really need to know how it works.
Mm-hmm.
I'll manage my risk accordingly.
It's all 9 years. What was I gonna say about?
But I do know how options work.
Yeah. That's so fucking sexy nowadays. The options trading. Yeah.
It's a great way to leverage your money, man.
Yeah, I'm thinking I'm gonna have to start getting serious. Even though I love
not
metaphysics,
financial advice.
Yeah, I think even though I love metaphysics and stuff and how it relates to it, definitely I'm gonna have to strengthen up that chamber under the concrete financing. Yeah, how dare you? You only have a family. Yeah, I think I feel better sitting at the front of the table than at the side, because I've sat out the side and at the other end for so long that it's like, yeah, I get it. I can live like a vagabond, pomper, pleb. But it'd be nice to like eat from the more of the center of the top of the table, more metaphorically speaking. And I think one of the ways to do that, I need to get serious about these finances and how to get more resources.
It's what matters in this world.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm metaphysical, but I just don't believe in the hocus pocus.
Yeah. Oh, that's what I was going to say, Dennis. And it kind of reminds me of the fact how we kind of suspend belief when we watch a Marvel, a movie in general.
I can't.
On the silver screen, right?
It's difficult for me.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, that's.
I hate those movies.
Which ones?
Like the Marvel movies. I don't like those.
No, that's why I stopped saying it. I don't really like those either at all. Maybe Guardians of the Galaxy because they play good music, but like. In Deadpool because he's crass, but other than that, I really do not like the Avengers and the Wolverine and all that stuff. Yeah, but with that said, I can get into that chamber, like by suspending my I guess my contempt for it, and also like trying to get into the story. And I would only imagine that alcohol and weed would help too. That would help me get into the story. But
I find usually those types of movies lack on story though. They don't have much substance.
The narrative,
the dialogue is shit. There's not a lot of character development. It's all about explosions, and special powers.
Right.
Like Chronicle, for example. I liked that. I don't know if you've ever seen it. That's my favorite superhero movie of all time.
What is it called?
Chronicle.
Is that like Riddick? Chronicles of Riddick? You got me on something new.
I wish there was a sequel to that about the villain. The villain in Chronicle is like the Joker's my favorite villain of all time.
Yeah,
but the villain from Chronicle is pretty dope. It's got to be in the top 5.
Chronicle, okay. It's called Chronicle, huh?
Chronicle, yeah, it's the name of the movie. It came out in 2012.
Yeah, I got you.
$15 million budget. Oh yeah, there it is.
I don't want to do it. Dude, I don't want to do it.
Okay, are you ready?
Okay,
Come on, do it.
Give me a countdown.
I will, I promise.
Ah!
Holy crap.
Are we rolling? I'm going to get the gum. Pull it right out of his mouth.
Wait, why are you ready? I got this one. Sweet.
How did I not hear about this movie before?
She's just looking at it. This is my theory, though, is that it's like a muscle. Watch this.
Well, he can do it too.
Dude, holy
Yeah, and he was more advanced. See,
we're getting stronger, you know?
he's one of the more advanced ones. They all take their own personal path when they get the powers.
Working it out.
I really liked it.
Is this me, you, and look within?
There's nothing.
Yes.
Where are you going?
Oh yeah.
I'm sorry. That's just some redneck. What the hell is this guy's problem?
They're gonna kill him.
And
I already know it. See? Dead.
Are you crazy? Why did you do that? What the hell is wrong with?
I knew it.
Was it an accident, Andrew? Andrew?
It's going dark.
Don't worry about it.
yeah, and he gets way more powerful.
around with this. It's too dangerous. Andrew, it's not a game. Andrew! Stop this right now.
They were chronicling the whole thing.
Just making that sound.
What is that?
All right, dude, we're going inside. Steve, wait up. Matt, look at this.
Holy crap! Got the chills. Was this a M. Night movie?
No, M. Night.
That's pretty good. M. Night Shyamalan.
Yeah, no, it's Josh Trank.
Pretty good. Okay.
Josh Trank and Max Landis. They wrote it and directed it, which it's like a, what would you call that? When the project's like your kid.
When the what?
When the project's like your baby.
Oh yeah. A labor of love.
I think that is what I was looking for here.
Yeah. Let's look at this. This is so I'm gonna check that out. Thanks. This is what we're doing. Speaking of movies and dialogue, Clue Studios and I, we're gonna do this on Saturday night. I'm gonna hit up Hateful Eight Revisited. We're gonna do that probably 9 p.m. Eastern time on this Saturday night. We're gonna go over there because it's interesting how supposedly the Hateful Eight, I think it was supposed to be Django Part 2. Yeah. Yo, what's up, Max? How's it going, man?
Good evening, NPC. I just thank you for that. I won't say the link but I will be premiering over there on the Pornhub, which will be life affirming. But the women in your chat seem to be a little non-life affirming, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, maybe this is too much for them. We're just too much man for them, man.
Yeah, well, I can understand that. So I'll be on my way. I'm gonna get the light set up tonight. Gonna do a little dusting around and whatnot, and they can eat their hearts out when I'm at 50,000 subs over there on the hub. But NPC will always be welcome over there in the prime spot and everything. You may want to be a director.
Hey, Max, thank you for that, man. You said that you're a model now, an official Pornhub model?
Yes, on Pornhub model.
Wow.
I'll be going live tonight. Yes.
Yeah. You heard it.
Yeah.
It's real, man. I know you've been talking about this for the last couple of years. This is official,
it is
man.
happening. It is happening. And all the women in here, they can, I don't know what to say to them anymore because online women NPC are just that. I go meet women at the swing club, not online. These bitter old broads, these old bitter prunes have to sit here and wonder what happened. Like Snow, her figure left, somewhere at the window between 1999 and 2009, left somewhere. Didn't it, baby? Yeah, but you would want it. You want the life affirming action. And same with Markella NPC. And why these women deny themselves? No, you don't have to pour me. I'm not. Look at you. Yeah. You're old bitter. You're old.
That's double trouble for you, Max.
Yeah,
They might
you're
put
older,
you out,
better.
man.
Yeah, well, I'll send you the link over there in PC. So,
All right,
you can
send it to me, Max.
yeah. So, I'll let you be. Have a good evening. And like I just said, these old bitter bags of biscuits like Markella, men should not put up with them. Don't look at them. Don't even them give them any attention. They're not deserving of it. Understand? Yes. Thank you.
So what the hell are you
This
doing?
has
what
been
do
the
I
general.
do? What do I do? What
Show
do I
him,
do?
Max.
I don't know. What did he ask? I didn't hear him.
He said, "What do you
She
do?"
didn't-
He said.
And I said, "What are you doing?" Because she didn't
Porn.
get any attention until you came up here.
Well, no, I'm not really worried about it. You know, this is online, and you know, I do my.
I think
things.
Markella broke your heart. I think.
Well, I mean, come on. I mean, she's a little. First of all, you know, she has a little. You know, she's got a little fat in the ass. And Snow, if you're so hot, honey, you know, you could show pictures that weren't 10 years old. But we know what
She
your
cams up
predicament
live,
is.
bro.
Yeah, well, I'll see what her predicament is. Let me take a look at it, and I'll get.
Let me tell you something. Her predicament's all right.
Yeah,
She's doing okay. Let me
for an
tell you.
online gaming
Pretty
nerd
good,
like
man.
yourself, it is. But you know, to me, you know, it doesn't really hold water. It's, you know, their stories don't hold water. But you know, that's just being said. You know, onwards and upwards.
I've seen what you prefer.
Yeah, and I'll
That might work on
live,
somebody
and
who
I'll be
hasn't
live
seen
at
your
the Swing
preferences.
Club tomorrow night, and where you will be, Dennison, is playing video
You know,
games.
but
rotting
Snow
in a
Game
chair.
might be disappointing
Yeah,
for you
go get a
because she
pump.
doesn't have a
Go
cock.
get a pump, you
There's
punk. Why don't you go get a pump? Why don't you go lift some weights? You can't. You have nothing masculine about you, do you? That's exactly right. I'm off. Thank you. Good evening.
All right,
Nothing's
General.
more masculine than sucking a cock. Am I right? Playing with the
Flip it.
balls. Didn't he say he likes to play with the balls?
The bigger, the better, baby.
There you go. Nothing's more masculine than fiddling another man's balls.
Look at Arctic Kimball. You need to. You're crazy, Dennison. But that Dennison, you didn't say. I mean, that's what Max said. That's what he said. Oh wow, you just missed. What's up, my friend Markella? How's it going?
Oh, Oofy done dropped down.
He just dropped back. What happened? What happened, Max?
What the
Snow
hell? Yeah, come
Snow
on back
brings
up.
up a good point.
What she said?
Yeah,
That's
last
not what he
week
said
he
last
was
week. Yeah.
like for 7 minutes long. It was so sweet, baby. I love you. You're the most beautiful thing I've ever
Yeah,
seen.
both of them.
He just couldn't stop.
Markella and him. Like,
Yeah.
and Wheels, man. That was wild, huh? He switched it up
Yeah.
on you.
Yeah.
And by the way, I like granny panties, kind of.
I earned my granny panties. I'm telling you, I earned them.
You earned them. Huh?
You know,
Where?
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Proud of it.
You
I guess he is
Yeah, you just
scared.
missed him. Are you gonna go to
I
the
know, I
premiere,
was-
Markella?
No, hell no, I ain't
Why
watching
not?
his premiere. No.
Oh,
No,
don't watch
no.
the premiere, but one of these days you got to go on his channel. He would. Oh my God, they would love it. We'd see you guys.
I have watched
go
him
at
back
it.
when Paper Cut Tina was going over to
Yeah.
his channel. Yeah.
But he loves you though, some Markella, man.
I don't know why. I don't know why he keeps going after me and Snow. I have no idea. But Snow just leaves me in the
Maybe
chat
'cause
by
you're
myself. No, I'm kidding, Snow.
What is it?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, you got to watch this. Almighty Arctic. This is go back to the archive. Oh, he's back. There we go. Go watch
Oh
this.
my.
Oh, here we go.
Well,
The general. He's
you know,
back.
Markella, Markella, let me ask you, how much weight, why you're so bitter? I know you've gained weight. How old is that picture, first of all? And you know, how old is that picture right now? Why don't you tell me?
Huh?
Tell me how big those chubby cheeks have gotten, how big your ass has gotten over the past 5 years. Now, let's get to the real deal here, Markella. Why you're
Dude,
really
look at
threatened
you.
by a
You
man
want to
like
talk about
myself.
some chubby
Why
cheeks?
you're
Look at your
threatened by a
cheeks.
man like myself, and you are
Is that the best you got? Is that the best you got?
don't
Come
have
on.
anything. You got a big old foop on you, don't you?
No.
Yeah. Let's see it.
No.
You women got big. You know what, Markella? What
You
had
know
no-
what? Let
no
me
has a
tell you
cock socket.
something.
She
Let me
should
tell
shut her
you
cock
Hold
socket a
on,
little
Max.
bit. Yeah.
What'd you say?
Let me tell you
excuse me, Max.
something.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't matter how big the person is. You know, it's what's in
That's
their
what
heart.
the fatties say. That's what all the fat ones say.
I can
Markella.
I could weigh
Cope.
600 pounds and still be a good
You
person.
do. You do. Look
But
what
I
you
don't
did
weigh
to yourself,
600
you poor woman. You poor, look at yourself coping for your fatness. How dare you? How dare
Max,
you?
you guys have different priorities. You
fat heifer. You should be
Max.
sucking my
No,
ass.
I was just joking.
You should
No.
suck my ass, Markella, you bitter old bat, you big bitch.
No, I say
Hey Max, you took aesthetics as top priority, right?
Suck on that.
You hear what I said, dog?
Markella.
Max, you said aesthetics is number one for you, right? Aesthetics.
No,
we can say top priority.
I'm just doing. I'm gonna military press like Markella. I couldn't military press her weight, but you know, I'd like to get up for some strength.
Oh my god!
Because you know, I got exercise equipment behind me. Where's Snow at? Hey, you mouthy broad. Where's that one? Why don't you bring her up to NBC? Yeah, why don't she bring her little cocksocket?
I know she doesn't go up with my panel anymore.
Yeah,
Snow goes on everyone else's panel except my panel.
Fatties.
What's up, Snow?
Fat. Where are you? Come on, Snow.
Well, I mean, would you, if you were her, would you come up here for this?
Now. Well, listen, not right now,
Gracie,
but there's,
is that you,
there's
baby?
been other times. There's been other times when
Gracie, they were very mean to me, Gracie.
Sir, hold on. She's had plenty of time to come on the panel when Max wasn't around. If that's her reason she doesn't want to come on. I miss having her on the panel. She was great, but I'm not going to beg somebody. You know, I don't do that.
Nor should you for these old outdated women. Now, Gracie. Now, if that looks like Gracie, they are very rude to me.
She's a good conversation.
They have Gracie, come over to the hub with me. We'll make
good conversations.
Come make.
Did you say you're so cute or cruel? I can't see.
Cruel.
I thought I said cute.
Yeah, she would like that.
Max,
look at Chopper Jeff, your old friend Max.
This
your old friend Chopper Jeff.
Yeah,
I know. Go tell him to lift some
logs. A friend of mine.
for
You're not going to convince her any different.
Oh, here she comes.
Yeah,
but you know,
come on,
thank
Snow.
you for the laugh.
Come on, you bitter old trans. You bitter bitch. You're another one, Snow. The days have long passed, right? You're not getting what you want anymore. I know how it is. Go ahead.
She's just kidding. What? She did a pump fake.
How many times?
She did a pump fake on us.
Yeah. How many times has she ever been married? That poor bastard. Be married to these mouthy broads. I'd rather rope it out of here. Can you imagine looking at Markella every night, waddling in with her slippers on? I don't need that.
Oh, man.
No man needs that. No
man. I
think
you've been looking at her every night.
Get out of the street, you fucking bum!
No man needs that, Markella.
I think he's jealous.
No, Markella. How could I be? Why did you let yourself go?
You don't have me.
Why did you let yourself go?
Why are you talking about, dude?
Your weight problem. Your weight.
Oh
I'm talking
my
about
God.
your weight.
You know what? Now. Thank you for the laughs. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, but why did you become a heifer? Okay, you were a good-looking woman, but now you let yourself become a fat slob. Why? Why? Is the hubby fat? I bet you he's fat too.
Oh my.
I bet she's got a small pecker too.
No, my husband's not fat.
Yeah.
My husband isn't fat.
Yeah, he probably want to leave you. He should. I would like to speak to him.
I've been with him for 16 years. So
that's a long time.
Believe me, he can do better. Believe me, honey, he can do better, and I'll show him the way. I will show him the way. You are threatened by a man like me. No, you're a threat, Mark.
You want to know something, Max? My husband's not gay.
Mm-hmm. Well, no. Well, you know, Markella, you're very slow. Maybe it's all the years of fatness. It sounds like your arteries are clogging up too. You may want to get some cardio equipment. Yeah, because you know what I'm saying is right. And you'll only have mouth for me because you women are out of shape. You're not sexual anymore. You got cobwebs in your poontang. That's a fact. That's a fact.
Is that what you told Paper Cut Tina too?
I don't know who that is.
Who is that?
Oh, yes, you do.
Are you an idiot?
Yes, you
listen.
do.
Listen,
Oh,
I'm
yes,
doing my
you
thing.
do.
You can come over to the hub or listen.
Is that what you told Gracie?
You are fat. You are.
Is that what you told
fat and
Gracie
retarded
too?
is not a good combination, baby. Fat and stupid is not good. Okay.
Oh, is that
Now
what
get
you
with the
told Gracie
program.
Thorpe?
I extended the olive branch of love to you. Just get with the program, NPC.
Wow.
I told you
the
I
olive
give my
branch of love.
No spot to Grace Thorpe.
Listen to how
It's
she
about
speaks.
you.
I would fall asleep in the
declined.
coma
We
by the
passed our
time she speaks
invitation
that
on.
one sentence. I'm around the block already.
Blah 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 blah.
Yeah, I'm too fast for you. I'm too fast for any of the women in here. So that's what you get, Markella. You should suffer in life. I know you're suffering now. I know you're gonna go to sleep when you kind of curl. You're gonna climb into bed with all that weight on you.
I think you guys just have different philosophies of life. That's what it is.
She don't have any philosophy. Yeah. She wishes she does. Yeah.
That's what's
I'm
happening
not
right
sitting
now.
up here making fun of you.
Comb your hair back,
making
Max.
fun of you. I'm making fun of
the
your
hell
weight.
if you're not making fun of me?
Yeah, I'm making fun of your fat ass.
But you know what? I'm laughing at you
big bitch.
I'm laughing at it. You're not
You big
affecting me.
bitch. You're big. You know what? And you're a very sad woman at the
Call
end of
me
the day
what
because
you
you
want,
let
I don't
yourself
care.
go. No,
You don't
that's
affect
right.
me.
You don't care because you let
And I'm
yourself
sure
go.
you don't affect Snow either.
You're giving up on life. Yeah.
This is your cancer.
Yeah. Well, how would
Really,
you know,
if I
Gracie?
given up on life, I wouldn't
How would
be
you know,
here.
Gracie? Yes, I'm a micro penis incel. Yes, Gracie, I have a micro penis, and I'm an incel, and you know, it's just very bad. You know, yes, obvious.
Someone might clip that, man.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
If
obvious.
I've given up on life, I wouldn't be here right now.
Yeah, but you sure sounded. I mean, listen how you spit those words out. It just sounds like desperation to me. It's not fast. It's not
No. Let's get it right here now. You're the desperate one.
No, I'm living my life accordingly, and you're trapped in some fucking Midwest hellhole, sitting there with a fucking horse and a bundle of hay and a big fat ass. You know, so rock
And a big fat ass.
We got a comment from Mike. He said Max is the face of a back child support. I don't think he has children.
Probably so.
Yeah, I have 1,000 of those little fuckers running around.
His little swimmers probably leaked out.
Are you
somewhere.
a drinker, Max?
Black light on your furniture.
Yeah.
Like a whiskey, a good whiskey?
I forgot.
It's all Coors,
Maybe
Coors
a
Light.
a beer
Max,
from time
Coors
to time,
Light,
or
maybe.
Yeah,
but NPC, maybe he doesn't have
not a
kids
drinker
because he likes half woman and half man.
Yeah,
well, maybe he's what? Half woman, half man.
Maybe he doesn't have any kids out
Is this
there
thing on?
because he likes half women and half men.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
because I guess a trans person cannot have kids. You're right.
These neurons are not
So he
firing
might
the
not
way
have no
Markel want to
kids.
check your synapses in your brain, how your serotonin and the dopamine are firing off. You
Oh,
don't make too
okay.
much sense these days, baby.
Come
You know,
on.
you're-
Come on
yeah.
with it. You can do better than that, can't you?
Would you
Well,
ever
for you, I don't
agree
have
to a
to do
debate
it.
between you and Markella on your channel?
Well, why would I? Why do I need to? Yeah, if she gets on camera and shows me her fat ass, shows me those old granny panties, those old big bags of balloons you got going on, baby. Yeah. Yeah,
Nah,
you got
I'm
a
not
big mouth
easy
on
like
you. Oh,
Gracie
you're one of
is.
those Wiccan broads. You're another bad shit insane woman with your Wiccan. You know,
Hold
you
up,
people are
hold up, hold
another
up,
bad-
hold up.
Get out of the
No,
closet,
no,
Max.
no.
It must be your problem.
She's another bad shit
Yeah.
insane. How crazy are you bitch? I bet you're insane. I bet you got feng shui and fucking stones and crystals, honey. You are a putz. You are a moronic putz.
Well,
okay?
you know what? We'd rather
Yeah.
have cobwebs than that
Yeah.
green
You get paid
stuff
for
that
this.
you got
Yeah,
on
no,
your
I got an
Do you
8-inch
pay him for
pecker,
this?
Markella. You've never experienced an 8-inch.
Is this
It's a
content?
donation.
You're not content.
Max is getting warmed up for his big premiere. I think that's what it was.
Yeah. Yeah.
You'll never know about what it's to go down to Caesar's
I mean-
Palace or Mandalay Bay, make life affirming content. Markella, you'll never know that.
Palace. Green Door.
I would rather have
Yeah,
cobwebs than that green
I
stuff
know.
that you
That's
got
the
on your
cope of the
penis,
century,
man.
baby. Keep coping, Markella.
Somewhere Burger King is missing a night manager.
No, it's best salesman in Staples,
Keep coping, baby.
Southwest Division,
Yeah.
baby.
That's right.
Get it right. Put some respect on it.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. I'm off.
Yeah.
Markella, go. I suggest you start your weight loss journey today. I'm trying to encourage you. You know.
Well, I
Yeah, and
suggest you go
Gracie,
clean
why don't
that
you bring
green
your
scum
cute
off
ass
of your
over,
penis,
Gracie?
okay?
Why
What?
don't you bring your
Green
sauce
tiny
and
weights.
that you get?
Go
Gracie?
clean the
there.
green scum
Are
those
off
weights
of your
back there?
penis.
Those are
Hey, woman.
tiny.
Hey, Gracie, woman. Hey, woman.
Yeah.
That
You can bring
explains why your
yourself over to
gun's
my
like that.
place, woman.
Did
Hey,
you
woman.
hear me? Did you hear me, Max?
No, you're too old. I'm speaking to the
Go
young.
clean the green scum
Chat,
off of
do
your
the
penis,
like
I'm talking to
super
Wicked. I'm
enhanced
talking to
computer
Wicked.
forensic shit. Tell me if those are weights.
Start
back
your
there.
brain, Max.
Those look like
Those are
5
your
to
brain
10 pound
growing.
weights back there.
He's a
Oh
model.
yeah, 10-pound weights, right? Yeah, Denton, for you're a schlub. You see what I got there? That's a 50-pound dumbbell. You couldn't even lift that. You couldn't even lift it.
Did Did you just
can lift that.
point at a chair and call it a 50 pound?
Yeah, I know. I'm a toy.
Because I see
you're
5
wrong.
pound.
You're another
I
jealous,
could
envious
lift
punk.
that.
Show me your physique, Denton. Let's see it. If you got
Jesus.
the muscles and you work
Turn
out.
the volume down. This guy's
Now
upset.
you're a queer yourself.
Screaming in my ear. Holy fuck.
Yeah, you know, people like you always have something to say, and you never work out because you got a doughy, pudgy, fat fucking body. You're a
Look at
nasty,
your belly,
bothered,
buddy.
dark incel.
Isn't that the same thing he just said
Hey,
about
look at your
Marcella?
belly. Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Marcella, please do not compare my weight to yours, honey.
My
I'm not
name's
in the
not
300s.
Marcella. It's Markella.
I'm not in the 300s. Whatever it
Or
is,
Mar.
whatever. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
He likes the balls too,
It's all
yeah,
the
Betty.
same. Yeah, Wiccan, and honey, you're another crazy bimbo that believes in Wicca, and why don't you go play Dungeons and Dragons or World of Warcraft? You'd much be better off, probably more entertaining. You're just full of bullshit. Your whole life is full of shit, Wiccan. Your whole belief system is just as stupid as Christian. These people think that they're getting away and that they're better than Christians,
the host
and
of
they're
the
just as
show
stupid.
agrees
You're
with
just as
that.
stupid. You're just as dumb. Virgin birds,
astrology
witches,
and all that.
goblins.
Let me tell you something.
Bless, Bill.
It's a little disrespectful to
Let
the
me tell you
platform,
something.
yeah.
I have a beautiful anaconda. It's a beautiful armadillo. It is on tape. It is on videotape. It is on the internet. It will become world renowned. Give it time. All right. Right there. Put that up
Oh
like
my
a
goodness.
gynecological instrument.
Classic Max. No, astrology is cool though. I
Look
mean,
at the
you
you
may not
gained.
believe in it,
Look how
but
skinny you was. Look how skinny you was in that video. Look at you
It's
now.
better than being a fatty like you. It's
Look
better
at
to be a
that.
fatty.
Look at
Better to
look
be
at
a
that belly
fatty.
you got in front of you right now, buddy.
Yeah. What about it? You want to kiss this, don't you? Go ahead, kiss him.
No,
Go ahead, kiss him, you
no.
bitch. Go ahead, you filthy
the numbers
broad.
are going up right now.
Go ahead, you filthy broad. You're a pervert, Markella. You're a little pervert. You're a little dirty bitch.
I think
You're a dirty.
no.
Say you're a dirty whore. You're a dirty
No,
whore. You're a
you're the
dirty
pervert.
You're a
You're the
dirty whore.
pervert.
You a dirty bitch. You would like me to paddle your ass, wouldn't you? You would love that. You would love a man for me to leave marks on your tuchus.
Come on.
You know it, and I know. Yeah, you bring it. Give me your address. I'll be there tonight.
No.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna shut my side of the
Most
stream
men
down.
have muscles.
You're so funny.
Yeah, all you women, cope harder, bitch. Go ahead, ask
You're
NPC.
so
Yeah,
funny.
I've had women 1,000 times better than looking anything in the chat here for free. Yeah.
Crossed over a line in some legal jurisdictions at this point.
Subs and latching on to other people, and that's
Oh my
what
God, that's
really
an old
it's
video.
never been about. And to even prove
That's when you had like
that,
20,000 K.
there are some people.
Not on that. That's an old.
Well,
That's
I think
way
need to
before
be
that.
toyed with. On
What happened? Look at you
Young
then.
man, dog.
Look at you now. Yeah.
Well, I was
Maybe
28
His hair
years
ran
old
away
here
from the rest of his
20 years ago.
face.
giving this channel,
That's like 30 years ago, man.
the Hellion Exciter channel, to this person.
Yeah,
30?
you got chubby
Yes,
cheeks
this person's
now.
name is Tom.
Yeah, keep it. You
Saracen.
never
May
had
not be familiar
anybody. All right, I gotta get my burrito.
This is a 50-year-old man?
No, he's old as me. Well, he's a 1 year older. 48.
How?
Year of the dragon, baby.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
I'm 47,
48.
man. Our best years are yet to come, even, man. CUM.
I'm 56.
Hopefully.
Yeah, sounded.
I mean,
too.
eventually, I
All right.
guess.
Yeah.
The clock is ticking on.
Get your game together. Go lose weight. Thank you. Have a good evening, NPC.
Take care,
Adios.
Max.
I
Congratulations.
think I lost
on your
Until
brain
next
mass
time.
after that conversation, in quotes.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, and
I
this will
need
be
a
a
palate
members only.
cleanser.
Like the jacket.
Sorry about that.
Markilla
NPC.
gives it to him, bro. No, it's okay. I mean, you.
So this is before his first sexual conviction, right?
I don't know about all that.
Yeah.
But yeah. It's an old video, definitely.
Yeah. You better go with a palate cleanser after that. So
I should have left as soon as it came up because I really don't want to be in the documentary.
Yeah, it's too late for that now.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was that was Max. That's the Markella saga. You guys are like oil and vinegar, but it's like you're just talking to him normal. You know, like he has to hit.
He
those
tagged
ad
every
hoc.
single person in your chat and on your pin.
Yeah,
It's
and
not
even
like
me,
a
even
Markella
the
thing.
subject, even my subject, which is
yeah.
Fascinating.
All right, NPC. Thanks for having me up.
All right, thank you for being up there. Good sport.
Again, she
I'll talk
came
to you
up
later.
just for that. That's
Later.
wild.
Markella's a savage, and he's a real one.
I don't know how that makes her a savage to come up here and have a stranger degrade her in public.
Well, it's not a stranger anymore. They have
They're
history.
strangers. No, they don't.
They have history, man.
No, they don't.
They have history from last week.
Yeah, no, they don't.
But yeah,
they're strangers.
They're strangers. It's definitely Stranger Things, man. Crash Out season for sure.
I mean, she must love it.
Yeah, yeah, man. I didn't.
That wasn't like pre-planned or anything. That was like perfectly scripted.
No, obviously,
he came up out of nowhere. She came up right after.
Well,
they screamed over each other.
He was leaving. He was watching the stream since the beginning, off and on, I think, and I guess he wanted to premiere his promote his big premiere on the hub, as he says, the hub. So, yeah, for those who are into that, there you go. So much for keeping astrology, yeah, for sure. That would be a real MVP of emotion right there. The watery emotions right there.
Wobbly
and watery. Man, I was supposed to get out of here a second ago. But anyway, yeah, man. Just to bring it back full circle. Today has been water sign showdown, Scorpio versus Cancer versus Pisces. Who is the real emotional MVP? Drop your sign in the chat if you're Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces. And let me know what part of your emotional nature you're still trying to master. And if you're not a water sign, which one of these modalities do you need in your life? Because whether you're a Scorpio, you need that Scorpio strength, or Cancer, always say care, nurturing, or the piece of a Pisces. Water seems to always find a way to heal. What's the great Bruce Lee say? Be like water. Right? So I'll catch you all on the next stream. Stay cosmic, stay curious, and stay away from those tranny dicks. Don't forget, the deeper you go, I will say, the higher you rise. I'll see you next time, Dennison. All right, peace. 10,000 G. Yeah. So we got an Aquarius in the house. Yes. Cancer right there, Markella. Yeah. Leo, arrival Cancer for a sign. Yeah, we see it. We see them all. They're all right there. Yeah. And a shout out to my mom, who was a Cancer. Anita Cuevas. Rest in peace and power. You can ask mommy. She made a legend. Peace, chat. NPC the game.
Here come Johnny, shot him in the lobby, mommy. Death is my hobby, mommy. Street said that God bless the gun with the most body. God bless sons with the most body. I seen dust heads scare everybody. I seen the devil die twice. I know where God is, where all of the graves be. Ancestors rest with me. My life, all of the testers. Who is the bestest? Ask mommy, nigga. You can ask mommy, nigga. Yeah. She made a legend, nigga. Yeah. Free up the G's up, wave off a new ship. Send me a new ship, a new clip. Find me a new horse, 6+4, nigga. Diamond and Nordstrom, beauty you, damn I adore you. Like let me spoil you, I'm so royal. Spill all my oil, olive juice, olive oil. Shining through the maze, looking for you. Here comes Johnny 2, shot him in the lobby, mommy, project shit. Death is the hobby. God bless the gun with the most bodies. God bless son with the most bodies. I seen the dust head scare everybody. I seen the devil die twice. Damn, I know what God is. Ancestors rest in my life, test in my life, test who's the best. Mama made a legend, oh, legend, oh.